Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL, and my goodness, the amount of games that have released in the last 10 days have been nothing short of bank breaking and wallet emptying. What's also unreal is the amount of gaming news that has been popping up here and there, and we're going to break down all of it. And of course, who cannot talk about Gears 5? It became officially launched in Ultimate Game Pass last night. People have been playing. People have been doing overnighters. People are on this show who have toothpicks holding their eyes open. It's going to be amazing. But you know what? In order to break down all of this information, I had to assemble a panel of superheroes. So let's get right into the BoomStick introductions. First up, we have a community member that exemplifies what it means to be a fantastic person, but more importantly, human being on and off social media. He is a sniper elite. He's a huge Xbox fan. He doesn't like scary games. And no, even if I beg him, he won't be playing Resident Evil 8 in 2020, but he will watch someone else play the game with the sound muted. Someone that you need to follow on Twitter. Please welcome Zemi Games.
You're right. I will watch you play, sound muted, no sound. Yeah, I can handle that. And thank you so much, Boom. Super excited to be here. Was playing Gears of War yesterday and having like the time of my life. So I can't wait to jump into that topic. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, it's great to have you as always. Now, next up, he's the hardest working community member fighting the good fight on these YouTube streets. He's the leader of the Sesh Empire, game share professional, die-hard gamer who takes the time to appreciate the finer details in game design, and someone not afraid to tell it like it is. He is also someone that will send out the assassins to get you. Please welcome my very good friend, Shady.
Thank you, Boom. So happy to be here, man. And as always, the new hotness is dropping the night before we have a crazy early morning show. But I'll take it both ways, man. I love these new games, and I love coming on right afterwards and being able to give my takes on them, man. I'm excited. I've been awake for almost the entire night. I had to take a little snooze, but, man, I'm happy to be here. Let's get into it.
Well, listen, it's great to have you here. Always like your opinion. And, of course, we're going to be talking Gears, because why wouldn't we? Next up, I have the absolute honor of introducing a lord that exemplifies what it means to be a platinum member. He's a part-time stand-up comedian that deserves his own sitcom. He is the king of statues, which just displayed something new the other day. So I said, get out there and check that out. He's also a retro gamer who knows a thing or two about wheeling and dealing thanks to his time working with the famous grandfather. He's the muscle of the Iron Lords. He's a dear friend of the community. I call him brother, but you could now call him Captain Game Pass, which he revealed his identity to the world last ILP. Please welcome King David from the Iron Lords podcast.
Oh my God, Boom. Thank you. I wish I would be Captain Game Pass. Listen, any Microsoft exec out there listening, I will definitely throw on the spandex and bust through the walls. Shout out to your boy. I'll be there. Definitely, especially with Game Pass launching with a game of this magnitude. Boy, we in here now.
Well, listen, there's a lot to be excited about, whether you like Xbox or not. I think this game is going to get a lot of fans either playing it on their PCs or actually going out and buying Xboxes. But we'll talk about that in a second. Next up, making his debut. You know him from being a full-time Coffee Casuals and Consoles panel member, a huge part of the Retro Renegades, one of the biggest Gears of War fans I personally know, and a Mortal Kombat 11 fan that will finish you after he beats you down cowboy style. Please welcome to the show, Crispy Bomb.
Oh, thank you, Boom. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being, having me here. And, I got the toothpicks in my eyes, Gears 5 till 3 o'clock in the morning. So, you know how it goes, man. That game is a banger. So let's get into it.
Yeah, again, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to be excited about. So let's get right into, of course, Gears 5. Now, obviously, King and I were very lucky enough to be at E3 with a lot of the Iron Lords, and we got lucky enough to get into, of course, the Microsoft showcase. And we've talked about it before that a lot of us were kind of like a little detracted, I guess you could say, because we didn't get a chance to actually see what we thought we were going to see. And at the time, it didn't make any sense. But up until last night, right before the launch, it made sense. They were specifically doling out different parts of the game, right? E3, they showed Escape. Then they showed then the multiplayer beta came out. Then they showed some other things. And then of course Gamescom comes, and what do we get, right? We get the single player campaign trailer, which blew everyone out of the water. And then we got, of course, the Horde reveal with hero characters, and completely changed everyone's opinion about what and how big this game is going to be. So, of course, I want to go right to my panel because I've played it. I've been lucky enough, if you didn't already know, that the Coalition and Microsoft were extremely kind enough to send me a review copy of the Ultimate Gears of War Gears 5. And I've been playing it since, I want to say, Wednesday afternoon. It's a masterpiece, folks. I'm not going to give a score to it because I'm actually going to do a review on the channel because they did send me a review copy, and I at least owe them that. But I want to go to So Shady first on this because obviously you have been up playing this. You have been talking about this. You have been championing this game for what seems like weeks. What are your initial impressions, and have the Coalition did what they said they were going to do?
Yeah, I think they did definitely what they were going to do. And one of them was keep the hype and the game kind of in the media cycle and on people's, tips of their tongues for the entire time since E3. And I think they did that. And one of the reasons that they were able to pull that off was not showing everything off at E3, even though it's, quote unquote, the biggest stage of the year. And that's ideally where you'd think you'd show off that campaign trailer. By not showing it off and just relying on the escape mode like they did, I mean, it got me hyped for one of the escape mode trailer and everything involved with that. That was awesome. The lack of a campaign trailer, it didn't make me afraid. They said that it was coming. They wanted to release it before a couple weeks or a couple days even before release, when the buzz would be at its highest. I still think that's the best time. We just watched Sony completely skip out on E3, the biggest show of the year, because that company really does show off their games a lot and often and early. And they missed out on the biggest show of the year for the first time in 25 years because they did it so often that out of their own mouths, they had nothing new to show. So why bother going? I do not want this from Xbox. I do not want this from Sony again. I don't want that at all. So by spreading it out, especially when they know they're sitting on a game that is going to deliver, it's one thing if you're sitting on something that you're unsure of. So you kind of need to get the feelers out, the trailers out, see if anyone's interested in pre-ordering at all, any of that type of stuff. Whereas they knew they had a hit on their hands here. They also know that with Game Pass on their side, the barrier to entry is extremely small. I mean, they're running a wicked promotion again for brand new subscribers, $2 for 2 months. You get the game for 2 months for $2. My God, that is so consumer friendly. And then to jam pack right up until the week of release with like the Batista reveal, the campaign reveal, the cinematic reveal, the Horde reveal and details. Again, I thought that was the greatest way. And judging from the community's hype levels leading into this thing, It was the best way to go, the absolute best way to go. We're on like what, our 15th trailer of Death Stranding. No one knows what's going on. The little bit of gameplay we've seen isn't doing anything for anybody. Like showing that game as often and as for as long as they have hasn't done much really, other than get people talking and confused. That's fine, but I think that what Gears did as far as marketing was absolutely brilliant. I championed it from day one. I know many people in the community were upset. Some were afraid even, but not me, man, not Shady. I thought it was a brilliant move. I knew that they were going to deliver on the game, on the trailers, the hype level. It was through the roof, man. That Batista bit really was the icing on the cake for me, man. I loved it. I love how he's wearing Marcus's armor as well. He's an alternative skin for Marcus in the game. He's not going to be his own character, I've heard. So you pick Marcus and you can choose an alternative skin for him. And then on Twitter, someone tweeted at Batista like, "Oh my God, this news! I almost died when I heard it."
Yes.
And his response was like, "Don't die until you've seen me play Marcus in the movie. Don't die then. Just don't die."
Yeah,
so a lot of
great.
people were kind of like, "Oh my God, did he literally just drop a Batista bomb that he is playing Marcus in the movie coming up as well?"
Yeah.
I really hope that's true.
It is.
I know the man has been pushing hard, like for years, to get it himself. And the community thinks it's perfect. I also think he's perfect for that role. I'm hyped that he's in the game coming September 15th. As for the game itself, my God, Boom. Holy cow. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm playing on the Xbox One X. I want to put that out there. So that is where my experience is coming from. The 60 frames, in my opinion, makes the game a buttery smooth, like just butter, man. Whipping that camera around, the background is nice and tight and crisp. The aiming is, it feels like a different game at 60 frames than previous Gears games at 30. A really consistent 30 frames is fine. Like it's enjoyable, it's good. But 60 frames just kicked it up to another level, and I think it really highlights the detail and the graphics in the game because you're pulling that camera around a lot, often, and fast in Gears of War. So if there's almost zero blur going on, everything is as crisp as it can be with the scaled 4K as well. Holy cow, I'm just blown away. The game has amazing set pieces. The story is resonating with me right out the gate. I am having one hell of a time with this. I really do like it. It is tight. I cannot wait to get back in. I didn't play any of the multiplayer stuff, the Horde, the Escape, or the actual.
Yeah, me either. I'm
Berserk.
strictly doing the campaign.
Jump into those other modes first. My co-op buddy that I play with, he's away on business right now, so I'm like, all right, I'll check out the multiplayer stuff. But no, I couldn't wait. I had to get in there by myself and just really take my time, man. And as I've said before, like I am walking through this game right now. There's no running going on with my character. JD is slow jamming it down hallways. I find the atmosphere that they are delivering is just top notch, man. When those juveniles first showed their face, and like I really want to shy away from any spoilers for people that haven't played. But when the juveniles showed up, I thought it was unbelievable looking. The atmosphere, the smoke, the fog, the shots going off, the guys are screaming, yelling, the voices, like the screaming of the juveniles themselves. It had my blood curdling. I'm into it, man. I love this game. It is delivered on all fronts for me. I cannot wait to play it later on today, right after the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great point. Listen, King, before I get to you, I have to thank the Tempest Sun with the outstanding, generous $10 super chat. He says, Gears 5 hype, game is blowing my damn mind, and I might be in love with Kate. She fits right with the likes of Ripley, Sarah Connor, and Laura Croft. The game is a must-play. Yeah, that is a great point. Thanks so much for being here. And, of course, I'm going to personally say hello to everyone in the chat. Just give me a second to let King do his thing. King, listen. You and I talked about this almost the whole time we were there. You yourself had tremendous confidence in the Coalition. Even before seeing what we saw, you knew it was going to be a banger, as the kids say. What are your thoughts of what they have brought to the Xbox community?
Just like Boom said, I've always had faith in the Coalition. And Epic, when they started the franchise, to be honest with you, because they've never dropped a bad Gears game. So people's doubts were kind of misguided, to be honest with you. I've liked every last Gears, all right, story-wise. As far as showing off the tech and the system, I always thought that they push every system to as far as they can go. be it when they did the other one, the side one with the expanded colors in the world
Yes.
instead of the dark colors, and I thought that was great too.
You're talking
So
about
I knew,
Judgment, right?
yes,
Love
Judgment,
that one.
and I know a lot of people hate it.
I,
I
I, I
don't know
really
why.
enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
I thought it was a great change of pace. I thought the comic satire in it was fantastic. I thought it was a great game. So going into this one, when they showed certain things, first of all, let's give Aaron Greensberg and the marketing team a big round of applause.
Yes, yes,
All right,
yes.
because they sat down with the coalition and they mapped out. Now, after Boom and I watched what went on at E3, of course, we're not privy to information. I get information after the fact. And after the fact, I get the information and I see the roadmap. The roadmap is set up in a way that allows you to appreciate certain aspects of the game that they're bringing forth to you. Now, they want to get mega dollars out of being a game that is played in tournaments and stuff like that, right? So, the professional circuit is exactly where Microsoft can mine this money. So, if you in the background and you follow Aaron Greensberg on Instagram, you will notice that a lot of times he's at these shows with his professional players. Who do they go out and get? Ninja. I told people from day one, Ninja will play every
Yep.
last Microsoft
Did
game
say it.
first party as soon as it launches. This whole everything is structured in a way that is strategic. You have the reveal that you have Game Pass, Ultimate Game Pass, and games will be released here. First party games, you get to play them first at least 4 days early with Game Pass, right? So early adopters who want to play the game can get in at a low rate, like Shady said, $2, for 2 months. That's insane. Okay. So you have a lot of people that went out and purchased the game for $100, but if you paid $2 and you a new adopter, you got this fantastic game. Now you got the gears inside your house, but strategically, they had one of the best known guys in the streaming world play the campaign that they didn't show you guys. Who tuned in? The
The
world.
world,
The
it million.
world tuned
It's,
in.
it's great.
Okay. What type of marketing is that? What type of genius is that? So you already know. Listen, Shady told you he was torn between playing the tournament style or playing the story. His boy ain't here, so he's going to play the story. You see, it gives you how you want to play. It's a la carte. You don't have to finish the story to unlock this. You can play it however. Some people never even touched the story. So they really didn't care at E3 if they showed a story or not. They just wanted to see what they can do competitively. The people that want to play the game for the story, they are here. They got exactly what they wanted. They got zero spoilers. They got the game. Now, if you didn't want to see, like myself, I didn't see any spoilers. I only played probably like 5 minutes into the game, to be honest with you, because I had to run around today and I work at night. So I jumped in today and I was like, I got to see the game before I even jump in. That's 60 frames per second. All right, my TV is 88 inches. I sit back, I see the 4K, and when they drop the doors off, you understand what I'm talking about if you haven't played the game. When they drop the doors off and you see the world, I paused and said, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And like Shady said, you look around, you're whipping around, you're looking around, and the world is moving how it's supposed to. The frame rate is moving how it's supposed to. It's a different feel to Gears because of the 60 frames per second. The colors is vibrant, just like I was telling you in Judgment. That was a turning point for the series. All right, they took it from the drab and brought it out of the dungeons, and now you can see the color palette. You see the 4K, you see the 60 frames per second. They've been building up to this Gears from the first Gears. This is the ultimate. This is exactly what you were looking for. So, for when people are online and they're criticizing, listen, you're not part of a marketing team. I'm gonna tell you this: sit back, enjoy the ride, and make sure that you take it all in. Because if you don't, little things like this will pass you by. Enjoy Ninja playing the single player. Enjoy them releasing the detonation mode. Enjoy every little thing going through, because if you're complaining too much, you don't got enough time to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Listen, let me just say this, King. This is the kind of game that comes along once every couple of years. This is not something that you're going to get all the time. You're going to get it again next year with Halo, but you have to understand what they have offered the fan base. They're giving you a solid campaign that has open world, semi-open world, RPG elements that are new to the series, giving you the ability to use a vehicle to get around, jump off wherever you want. It's not scripted. You're not stuck in just being on the skiff and having to go from A to B and not stopping. I've been stopping and I've been finding collectibles, because that's the big thing with this game, is the hidden stuff. The hidden world within this world is so interesting, and it's something I've been banging on a drum for years to do. Please let me explore and learn about the world of Gears, and they have given it to us in spades. Not only do you have a powerful single player, not only do you have an unbelievable multiplayer that it's known for, you have now a hero co-op shooter in Horde, with characters that have supers, as if you were playing a fighting game. This is the game that keeps giving and giving and giving, and there is something here for everyone. If you're a multiplayer person, it's here for you in spades. If you are someone like me who usually only plays the single player and moves on, because of the hero characters, I'm going to be playing that mode because I think that's amazing. And like I said, what they can do, because it's detached from the actual universe, we've seen the characters already. We have 2 Halo characters from Reach coming there. You have Sarah Connor and a Terminator, and now Batista as a skin. The roof has been blown off. Just imagine. And I actually wrote to Rod Ferguson to see if we can get Lieutenant Jackson from Crackdown 3, i.e., of course, is Terry Crews to reprise his role. Imagine having him in the game as a skin or a hero character. It would be absolutely amazing. But I want to go to I want to go to Crispy Bomb, because you are the Gears guy. And before I get your opinion, I have to welcome BitCloud Gaming. Now, he was actually, we had been talking previously, he was supposed to be in this on the show. And like I said, I had a very, very difficult week personally with a lot of things that went on social media. I'm not going to get into it. And it really threw me off of my game. So much so that my entire panel had no idea what we were going to talk about, even though I was done writing 4,000-word show notes on Tuesday, and I never sent it. My world has been in an uproar. And of course, Gears kind of ruined. It was the cherry on top. So I want to welcome BitCloud Gaming. I did not do an opening for him, which is it's gross that I have openings for everybody. So BitCloud, I want to say welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to get your opinion on Gears in a sec. But I want to go to Crispy Bomb, because I know you're a Gears dude. Has the Coalition blown off your expectations as a fan of the series?
Number one, I was expecting it to push the limits of the Xbox One X, and I'm playing on the Xbox One X. I'm playing on a 4K TV, like a top-notch 4K, 240 hertz refresh rate. The game is buttery smooth. Graphically, I mean, when you're sitting there, and I had to stop when I'm going down the rope at the beginning of the game and just look at the spectacle that is involved in the game. And then, okay, being a multiplayer Gears player, I've had 60 frames for a while on a multitude of the gaming modes. The smoothness in the movement when you're playing campaign, it feels like I'm playing multiplayer, which makes it all the better, because you feel like you can do the right movements. And I felt a little clunky in past Gears in the campaign compared to the multiplayer. Also, I did play Horde, and I will tell you, these new abilities just change it completely. I do have a post on Twitter. I mean, I felt so enveloped. It felt like I was fighting the good fight in the campaign in this small little, 50 waves of just going crazy and using these abilities. And we started playing off each other, and, they started letting me pick up because I was JD, and I had the the grenade launcher Lancer. And, I had to have those, moments where it was up to me to take down these larger enemies, and it made it all the better. It was just, it's incredible. I mean, they just blew my expectations out of the water, and, it deserves to be in the 90s, in my opinion, but that is my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually do a review. Again, listen, we're not gonna get into media bias. We're not. We're not gonna turn over that stone, because people are entitled to their opinion. Everyone knows mine about it, about how I feel about the media, and it is what it is. The game is a masterpiece. If I say this, please, for the love of Joe, if you are a gamer, and I don't care where you sleep at night, I don't care what flag you plant in the ground or what hat you wear, as a gamer, as someone that loves gaming, you have to play this game. Please do not listen to the toxicity that is on social media and let it deter you from playing a modern day mastercraft in every facet. It is a masterpiece. I've been playing for, I want to say I'm just about to hit double digit hours. And I have not found one thing that I dislike about the game that has not changed or changed my opinion of saying that it is, in fact, a masterpiece. But you know what? I want to go to BitCloud Gaming, but I also, because I stay prepared, I do have his opening, and I feel that he is deserving of what I wrote for him. So I'm going to do it anyway. So BitCloud, before I get your opinion, brother, let me give you the BoomStick opening that you deserve. He is the creator of the awesome BitCloud Gaming YouTube channel, which, by the way, has surpassed 5,000 subs. He's a diehard gamer who's obsessed with gaming and appreciates the great worlds, characters, and villains he meets in every game he plays. He's the host of the outstanding RGT podcast, which stands for Real Gaming Talk or Gamer Talk podcast, co-host of the Gamer Couch podcast, and he's a permanent member of the Scumcast and, of course, the hashtag Spectres. Please welcome to the show BitCloud Gaming.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you, dude. Thank you so much for being here. Now let's get into your Gears 5 opinions. Has the Coalition done the franchise right with this release?
Anytime a game is about to make you late for a show, you know they did something right if the game's keeping you up, and damn well you gotta go to sleep because you gotta make sure you meet a certain time to get here on time. So definitely it's definitely good. They did a good job with it. The thing about this game, right? It really has exposed a lot of people who are just really toxic.
Okay, that's a great point. Good. That's a great point.
These are the same people. Now, I know you say you talked about you don't really want to get into it. I'm not really going to get into it as much. I'm just going to add this to it. These same people who are finding ways to talk trash about Gears are the same people who claim media bias for games like, what was it, Days Gone. These are the same people who claim Days Gone was falsely accused of being bad or whatnot. Now, we already know Days Gone was not anything special. Not crazy special. It was a good game, right? It was okay. Nice little, had a few cool things about it. But it wasn't what everybody was expecting it to be.
Right.
Now, I played that game. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I played it. I thought the game had potential, But best believe when this game is done, when I'm done with this game, I can promise you it's going to be higher than the 7. Because I can appreciate good games. I can appreciate good games from either side. If I see a company actually legit put the effort into it, then best believe I'm going to applaud the effort. And the Coalition, despite this being another Gears game, which we all can agree, it's still another Gears. They add a lot of new elements here that actually do spice it up to, make you really appreciate it more. So it's really good. I do like this new entry so far. It's more engaging to me than Gears 4 was, for sure.
I agree 10 times over. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Was one? I think it was Execution. I don't think Execution's in online. I think they removed that. So that was interesting. But game mode side, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm mostly going to be in the single player portion. I'll probably play a few multiplayer matches with a few people, a few What's Ups that have asked me to play. But that's pretty much it. I won't really be, that into the whole multiplayer aspect, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Well, I mean, listen, obviously, the multiplayer has become an important part of Gears for a lot of reasons. But we also have to, you have to wrench it back to where Gears came from. And Gears came from a single player mentality. Sure, it had multiplayer, but what shined, yes, what shined is the single player, and the length of this particular single player, the world building that's going on as you're playing the game is really so new and fresh to the series. I don't understand how you could not like it. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
I could say that's a fair assessment. It offers a lot. It's more there for you. You have options. You can play with friends and whatnot. You have all this right out the bat. So they're really trying to, I wouldn't say just engage you personally. They're trying to engage more, get more people. It's kind of like going back to old couch play, like that old couch co-op play, back in the day. We play with a buddy and y'all just sit, next to each other and play it.
Yes.
It's kind of like they're trying to reach out for that only from a broader perspective online. So it's fine. I think that's great for it. As far as everything else is concerned, let's just get into the detail. Now I'm running this on my PC, but I did get to see this on the X earlier this morning. It was like around 9 o'clock because it came from a buddy. So he was playing it early this morning. I was like, oh God, I gotta make sure I get home. But
that's great.
He was playing it, and it looks good. It does run at a good 60 on X. I'm running it past that on my PC. So I'm running at like 100.
Tell him.
Yeah, I'm running it past that on PC. Mine's running like at least 200 something frames on my rig. So the game is beyond smooth.
How do you still have eyeballs?
I mean, the more frames makes it just, makes that whole, just the transitions, like, it's like there's no hiccup, there's nothing when you're going through these corridors and you're just looking at the extra detail. They also got a new thing called the texture pack you can download to add more detail to it. Didn't bother to download it because I'm like, don't really need it because everything
there's enough detail. So yeah, when you can see people's hairs kind of moving in the
time out.
What's up?
You're playing it without the texture pack and you blown away?
I'm blown away without even the texture pack. See, this is the first thing I did, David. I made sure I wanted to look at everything first. Right. So basically, I'm rocking everything that you can think of at ultra settings. Everything. So everything's at ultra.
You're gonna talk. I just want you to DM me after you down.
Best believe I paid close attention. As soon as I saw a texture pack and I joined, said, "Hey, this is optional." I'm like, wait, what? I can add more to this.
Listen, just hit me in the DM. And that's gonna let me know if I'm going to just jump to PC.
When I tell you it's good, if you have a good 4K monitor, you're gonna be blown away. Me personally, I'm just like. I'm blown away by what I've actually saw. Everything, it's awesome. Running it at its full fidelity. The screenshots that I took, I posted them on Twitter. I don't know if you saw the screenshots.
I saw, dude. They were unreal.
Yeah,
unreal.
That's all ultra running on my rig. I have 1070. I don't even have a crazy graphics card. Yeah, I don't even have a crazy graphics card. I'm rocking a 1070 Ti. So that should tell you something.
Oh boy,
I've heard the game runs great on PC, and it actually has split screen on PC. I mean, there's 3-player split screen on Xbox, but there is split screen on PC. That's unheard of in that ecosystem.
They literally went the extra mile to include everybody. Like, it's not even funny. Like, everybody came into question. If I had one small gripe with mine actually crashed, but it was actually due to me. I had a problem with I forgot to upgrade my graphics card driver, but that was a group of me. But other than that, it was fine. I had to make sure. I was like, you know what? When I first ran it through, I'm gonna actually play this on the podcast. It's gonna be funny as hell. But my first playthrough, I was literally using the mouse and keyboard, David. I was like, no. I can't do this. I thought, let me go ahead and download the software, get a controller.
Get that controller in, right? Yeah, I feel you.
You got to get that elite controller in your hand and go to town. Yeah, listen, dude. You know what? Thank you so much for the PC perspective, because I actually don't ever think about that. Not because I have anything against a PC. I just don't have a rig. You know, I don't play on PC. My whole career as a gamer, and I've been gaming since �78. Has always been on a console. I've never played on PC. And
right, you're used to it.
Yeah, so I'm probably not going to start now. But I have to go
eventually.
Yeah, maybe sometime down the line. Zemi Games. See, I want to get his opinion on this, because you see, if you don't know, Zemi, very quiet guy, right? He doesn't like horror stuff. Right, he won't play Resident Evil 8 no matter how many times I ask him to do it. But he's an assassin when it comes to Gears of War. If you didn't know, look out, because he's going to cut you in half. Zemi, you've been playing this game. I'm almost positive. I don't want to get this wrong. You said you haven't even touched the single player portion of it. So, all right. So tell us your experience so far with what you've thought about what the Coalition has brought to the table with Gears 5 and the multiplayer.
Well, I mean, to start off, I was so hyped to play this game yesterday. I had to hop on my private jet to go to New Zealand to be able to play it early. So I was so hyped to play that game, and it has not let me down. I mean, the game is fantastic. I'm not going to say that it is the best Gears game that's ever came out, because I don't know that yet, but it is definitely the best that a Gears game has ever played. If that makes any sense.
No,
like the game is just so smooth. Running around. All I've really done, I've played a lot of the multiplayer, a lot of quick play, a little bit of ranked matches, and then I played like one game of Escape. And I kind of like Escape. I played it on beginner because I'm a noob, and I never played that game mode before, and it was kind of boring. It's probably going to get a lot more exciting once you like ramp up the difficulty, because I was playing it on a very, very low difficulty. But I do like the idea of that game mode. But like the multiplayer is what I really sunk my teeth into, and I absolutely love it. One thing I absolutely love is, typically in Gears games before, you kind of had to like hip fire to do more damage to your opponents. And, for this game, whether you hip fire your opponents or you actually pop shot them or you just aim down the sight completely, it's pretty much the same exact damage. And I really like how they put the little dots up on the screen whenever you shoot someone with a Nasher, and it kind of tells you where your bullets went and how many of them hit. I really, really like the game for that, and just how smooth it is, wall bouncing around and stuff. I mean, it is the smoothest playing Gears game that has ever released, in my opinion. So I really like that. And then I also had a So Shady moment, and he's probably sitting there like, "What are you talking about?" But there's a map, and it's called I think it's called Iceborne or Icebound or something like that, and you can shoot the ice on that map, and it like shoots out like a huge chunk of ice, and there's like water underneath it, and you can kind of fall into the water. It won't kill you, but it just looks so good. Like I as soon as I figured that out, for like the remainder of the match, I just went around shooting ice. Like I was so excited.
The best teammate to have there.
I know it.
What are you doing? I'm shooting ice.
But I mean, ultimately, I really, really like the game. I do have some complaints. I really like how fast paced the game is. You seem to run quicker. Combat is just, a lot quicker to get in and out of. But like the active reloads, like whenever reloading your weapon to get to the active, it seems to take a little bit longer than previous Gears games. I don't really like that, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And then I also, I like the ranked, how like the ranked game modes are set up. But whenever you want to play like a social game, like you pretty much have like 3 options. You can play against bots, and I'm not about to do that. You can do a arcade quick play or regular quick play. Like there's no way of actually going in, selecting execution and only playing execution, and that's one thing that really bothers me.
Okay, because, so you know what, that's something that, if I were you, I would definitely tweet at the team, because they're really good at listening, and I'm sure you're not the only one that probably feels that way. So it's something that they could definitely address.
Well, and like what they did with Gears of War 4, they're eventually going to add new game modes. Like I like 2v2 Nashers, and that's not in the game, but I don't think that was in Gears 4 whenever it originally released, and then they later on added that. So like things like that, they're gonna switch around and stuff. So it's not that huge of a thing. It's just kind of disappointing right now how I can't play Execution without praying to all the gods and lighting candles for all of them and hoping that the rotation gets pulled up and everyone wants to play it and votes for it. But ultimately, I'm really excited about the game. I also feel like I'm robbing Xbox while playing it because like Game Pass is just such a deal. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, like how can you pay like $1, $2 if you're like the first time, getting Game Pass and you get this game? I mean, the amount of content in it, like I think a lot of us have kind of been somewhat disappointed about previous Xbox exclusives, like Sea of Thieves not having that much content, Crackdown being super short. Forza Horizon 4 was a fantastic game, so there's no complaints on that. But this game has so much content in it. It has a really big, awesome, very detailed story mode. Haven't played it yet, but I'm super hyped to. It has escape, has horde mode, has regular multiplayer. I mean, like this game has so much content. I don't know where I'm going to find the time to actually play Call of Duty or play the Outer Worlds or anything like that. I'm really pumped for it. And I'm honestly going to go out and say that I personally think this is the best Xbox exclusive that has been released this entire generation.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to stay like that because the Outer Worlds is coming up, but it's a phenomenal game.
Yeah. Speaking of all that content, they've already announced their after launch plans. It's called the Gears Operations, and it's every single 3 months. They release a new operation, which will have new tile sets for the map packs for people that are making their own hives. So you can have like different looking backgrounds and stuff for your hive. More skins, more characters to unlock, both for just skin wise and like actual characters with their own unique powers. There'll be new maps, and this is every single 3 months. They promised the most robust after launch lineup of content, all free, all earnable in game. The first one's already happening now. You rank up in these operations by playing anything in the game at all. You get operation points for, and that's where you get to buy, all this new cosmetic gear and stuff like that. Specifically what you want, you pick up what you want with your stuff, and away you go. It's fantastic. When I first turned it on, it was already throwing skins at me left and right for playing Gears of War 4, actually. It's like, here's a gilded set for Marcus. He's all gold now. I've got that gilded set for all the weapons, so they're all gold plated already. I got a bunch of stuff from the beta. Hearing that you're going to be unlocking all of these skins afterwards that they're going to add, plus everything that's in there now. Like, I know people say it's only cosmetic when it comes to microtransactions or anything for that matter. It's only cosmetic. I don't like the term because only cosmetic implies it doesn't mean anything, but it does. And these companies know that it means a lot, which is why they're selling them for anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks a piece if you're Fortnite for just for a skin. And the people know that it means a lot too, which is why they're buying them. Like, I play Anthem every day to get my daily coin just so I can buy the new any skin, any piece of armor that comes out because I need to get my peacock on, baby. And the cosmetics mean a huge amount. Well, a lot of people, they do. The gun that you're looking at all the time as you stare down the barrel and put guys down, if it can be skinned up or patterned, or it's got like the animated skins that Gears does and stuff, that means a lot to a lot of people. And this game has so much of it. It's why I play a lot of games. And I'm going to be honest here, I've been playing Anthem and Battlefield 5 a lot because they both have limited time events right now that are loaded up with skin stuff that I want to unlock. And I have to put Battlefield 5 down for the moment. It is taking too long to unlock that. I'm going to have to be putting in work every day. Let's put it that way. And I just don't have the time anymore. Gears came in. It is offering so much to unlock that I'm going to be playing that because it's more than just deathmatch and whatnot like Battlefield. This is co-op with my buddies, deathmatch, campaign, escape mode. All of it leads towards more cosmetics for me to show off. I'm so excited for that, and the content coming. I love how they're already talking about it every 3 months.
I really like their like tour of duty system. I don't remember if that was in Gears of War 4, but like the tour of duty where you have different challenges each and every day, and like completing the challenges, you raise your rank, and you get like you can unlock different emotes and different character skins and stuff like that. I really like that, and I also really forgot that you are able to design your own escape maps. Like that blows my mind how you're able to like create your own escape maps and stuff. And
it's basically Forge for Halo. I mean, Forge and Halo for Gears.
Yeah, and boom, we need to make a petition. Like, we all need to come together as a community, make a petition to get Terry Crews on this game, because that would be amazing.
Yes,
because
agree.
His armor already looks like he should be in the game.
Yeah, he does. Listen, if we can get Lieutenant Jackson, not Terry Crews playing Coltrane or something. I mean, actually, let's get him in there as a selectable character with a super from Crackdown 3, which is a first-party game. It would be absolutely amazing. But you know what? We've been on this topic 45 minutes, and the show's only 2 hours. And I know that we can probably stay another hour and 15 talking Gears, but your boy did write 9 topics, and I want to get to at least 3 of them because, you know, I like to over-prepare. But before we get to the next topic, which I put it in there because I'm a fan, so it's really, you know, I had to do it. I have to thank Thanaros for becoming a channel member, dude. Thank you so much for not only doing that, but for always being here. You are awesome. And, of course, a very good friend of the show, who in fact is a channel member, who also just dropped a very generous $2 super chat. Chaos Theory, he says, Morning Boom, Gears is fire. Thanks so much for being here, dude. And of course, if I didn't get to you in the chat, because my thing is saying hello to everyone individually, as soon as someone else starts talking, I'll get back to the chat. But I want to move on to the next topic, and it's because Capcom is one of my favorite companies of all time. They recently confirmed the existence of a brand new Resident Evil game called Project Resistance. And it is supposed to be unveiled this Monday, September 9th, as part of the Tokyo Game Show festivities, which we heard about a few weeks ago. Now, it's very interesting because right after the successful launch of Resident 2, which is still BoomStick's Game of the Year 2019, there were a few stories that were published concerning Resident Evil 3 being remade in the same fashion of 2. The only difference is that, and this ruffled some people's feathers, but I'm okay with it because I trust Capcom. Resident Evil 3, the remake that's supposedly in development, is being entrusted to an outside developer where they have access to the full RE engine that was created for Resident Evil 7, and of course all of the Resident Evil 2 remake assets. Now, the reasoning behind this move was to double down on Resident Evil 8 and another remake project. Now, the other remake project has been rumored. Now, I like to go to Reddit, and you get some good information from there. And I also like to go to the 4chan forums, which a guy by the name of Anonymous1, who's dropped major Capcom news in the past, has dropped a few bombshells in the last couple of months leading up to the release of Resident Evil 2. He detailed all of that, but more importantly, the other, and I use that in air quotes, Capcom remake title is apparently Dino Crisis or Onimusha. And the reason why I'm thinking it may even be both, because Onimusha HD was released early this year. I played it, I bought it. It was only $20. It was amazing. And Dino Crisis has been cheered on by the fans for quite some time. But why this story about Project Resistance holds any weight? Because the aesthetic gamer has been known to accurately leak Resident Evil news in the past, and he personally addressed Project Resistance in recent tweets. They say that he says anyway, that he's almost 100% positive that Project Resistance is either a mode for Resident Evil 3 Remake, or it started as a mode for the game and then spun off into a standalone product. That has not yet been confirmed, but we're going to know more on Monday. And considering the outstanding and ridiculous success of Resident Evil 2 made this year, it would be pretty odd for Capcom to shift the game to a multiplayer Resident Evil title. Now, having it as a mode in Resident 3, I think would be pretty cool, because obviously Resident 3 wasn't as long as a game when it came to, 3 versus 2, because remember, in 2 you're playing 2 different characters. In Resident 3, you're just playing 1. So it wasn't as long, and to have a multiplayer mode added in there where that you play as someone trying to, like a citizen trying to escape Resident Evil, I actually think would be great because you're adding to the lore of the title. But I want to go to King David first on this. For me personally, Resident Evil 2 stands as my favorite game, but at a close second, and I mean by a hair, it's Resident Evil 3 because I'm a huge Nemesis fan. When you heard that Resident Evil 3 was being remade like Resident Evil 2, did this get you hyped?
Oh yes, it's a reimagining. I like the way that they did two. When we first saw two, everybody was apprehensive until they actually got a hold of that one-shot demo. Boy, when I got a hold of that one-shot demo, because I wasn't privy to what Lord Cognito got a chance to play at last year's E3, he got a chance to get a behind the scenes, closed doors, and he had an NDA. Now, trust me, listen, we take that NDA stuff seriously, even if we buddies and we're friends. And yeah, but you could tell me, no, I can't.
He's a paraprofessional if you don't know.
100%. And when I'm held under NDA, I won't spill the beans either. So I understood, I respected it. But he said, listen, trust me, you're definitely going to love it. They got something coming for you. And when they tell me I'm lifted, I'm going to tell you what's coming when it's coming. Then he told me about the one shot when he was able to. And I played the one shot, and I said, I'm going to buy the game, or I'm going to wait for Game Pass. Y'all guys know I'm the ultimate Game Pass dude.
Well, you're Captain Game Pass, by the way.
This is a fact. and this the reason why I'm that way now, because Devil May Cry 5 just jumped into Game Pass the other day. And that game is so amazing. And I was gonna buy it day one, but it was so much, my backlog is crazy. Got a chance to play it. So I'm figuring and I'm hoping I can get a chance to get the Resident Evil 2 other than that one-shot demo that I played, so I can play the full game. But I love the direction that they're going in. Now, if they're farming it out to somebody else so they can double down on Resident Evil 8 and they can let the other team focus on Resident Evil 3. Their quality control was impeccable in Resident Evil 2.
Yep.
So there's no reason for me to question this new direction that Capcom is in, because as far as the one hiccup they had with the Street Fighter, I thought the hiccup with Street Fighter, when they limited to the PlayStation 5, I thought that was really bad. Because Street Fighter was always universal.
It's a multi-platform since its inception. Yes, correct.
It was always, you always brought multiple versions of Street Fighter just to see which one was the better version. And I had Saturn Street Fighter. I had what was it? A Dreamcast Street Fighter. I had a TurboGrafx Street Fighter. I had a Super Nintendo. I had a Genesis. And you saw the differences in between it. I don't have that opportunity to do that now. So that was the only hiccup I thought Capcom did. Not saying that the game isn't quality. I think the game is quality. Capcom has been on a quality run coming through. Sure, everybody wants that mega hit to stick, but in this day and age, we're not going to get that. What we're going to get is encapsulated views at greatness. And I think Resident Evil 2 is an encapsulated view at greatness. It brought old generation and it gave back nostalgia with a new twist. And I'm looking for that with the Nemesis. Like he said, when you got that Nemesis chasing you down, that situation, it was so good. Everything was fantastic. So I do believe going forward, if they're farming it out, they have confidence in the company.
Yes. No, I agree.
And they want to give you the best 8 they can give you. They don't want to rehash. They don't want a same old feeling. They want definitely 100% a new feel for the Resident Evil. And if they're going to that, they can't split. How many times have we said before, when a company splits their attention, then we have no direction,
right?
In both projects.
Yes.
So it's good that they have one project wanting to prove themselves, because you're pretty sure if you're a new company and you want to prove yourself on a proven IP that is established before you and has a rabid fan base, you want to excel when you get this project, because you want future projects, right? You want to get picked up. You want that studio wants to be worked with in the future. So they're going to do their best, while Capcom can definitely take all their focus and put it on 8. I think that's a great thing. Now, as far as that multi-plat, the multiplayer feel of it.
Well, real quick in regards to that, King, a good friend of the show, Eric the Beard, was saying that it was going to be, according to what he said. Now, I didn't hear this, so that's breaking news to me. A 4v1, meaning citizens versus someone as the nemesis or some of the other big bads. Now, that sounds pretty interesting in a Resident Evil game with the graphics of 2. I know that the 4v1 is something that hasn't worked in the past. But that, as a mode, it might work very well. What do you think about that?
If it's not the main game, hell, that you can do and your friends can jump in and have fun. Because how many times have you been online and your friends are playing one game and you're playing another game because it's a single player game and y'all all in chat? How many times does that happen? But if y'all all in chat and you're like, well, we got this mode in the game we can all play, and you can not just play separately in different games. Y'all can all group up together and play one game. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea to give you a feeling of camaraderie and that couch co-op and a little bit of deviousness because you can't look at his screen and you can track him down and beat your friends up. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, well, listen. Regardless, we're gonna know Monday. I'm trying to figure out the times. Once I find out exactly when they're gonna be revealing this new Resident Evil, I will be posting on Twitter. Zemi Games. I want to go to you first on this because, actually next, not so much first, because you obviously are probably not going to play Resident Evil 3. You're definitely not playing Resident Evil 8, unless, of course, there's co-ops. That's the thing with Zemi, if you don't know. He'll play Resident Evil game because he enjoyed 5, but he has to play with someone for support. What are your thoughts on them possibly releasing a Resident Evil 3 remake on the success of Resident Evil 2?
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense. It's going to be quicker to do. And, with what they're wanting to do with Resident Evil 8, I wouldn't imagine that's probably going to come out until like the next gen. I would imagine, because they, I never played the game. I never played like Resident Evil 7, but it really looked like they took the franchise a lot more forward than they did, years past, like graphically speaking. So I would imagine that they're probably going to release Resident Evil 8, on next gen. So I think it makes sense, and rather than splitting up the company, having a second company work on Resident Evil 3, it could be a risk, but I think it's gonna. I think that it definitely has the possibility of working. I just wish it was co-op, because if it was co-op, then I would play it. See, we're 2 more remakes from me being able to actually say, you know what, I'm gonna play that game. Because Resident Evil 5, I believe, was co-op, and I absolutely love that game.
Yes.
And fun fact, that's actually why I haven't played the Gears of War 5 story yet. It's because my co-op partner, he's not ready for it.
That's great. He's like, no,
because I'm not gonna. Yeah.
King. No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Well, see, so whenever I was playing Gears of War 4, I had my co-op partner walk through every door before I did, because there was a few occasions where you would open the door and then that scary fungus infected swarm would start reaching through, and it was like a little jump scare, and I'm not for that. I'm against that.
That's not that you're not for that life, right?
I'm fundamentally against that.
Yeah, you're gonna have some trouble in this one. I'm just saying. I
know it. Yeah. That's why I got to wait for my co-op partner.
That is absolutely hilarious. I want to move on to So Shady on this. So Shady, you obviously are a survival horror fan. I don't know what your take on Resident Evil 2 was. I don't remember for some reason. But Resident Evil 3, man, that is a game. The Nemesis character himself has always been, because he chases you through the whole game, and he doesn't just kind of break the walls. I mean, that guy is out to murder you, and it's a terrifying. And what they did with Mr. X in Resident 2 Remake, they made him scary. When you heard the footsteps, you were running up a ladder to get away from him, and through as many doors as you could run. What are your thoughts and expectations for a possible Resident Evil 3 remake?
First of all, Resident Evil 2 remake was brilliant. That's how you do a remake. None of this just, hey, we up-resed it and called it a day, Final Fantasy VIII style. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
the ground up rebuilt new game mechanics, running buttery smooth 60 frames. It's like a reimagining as opposed to a remaster, I like to call it, and I thought that's the way you do a game like that. It was absolutely fantastic. I didn't beat it. I was going to put that out there, but from what I played, I loved it. It was in your face, gruesome, violent. The mood and setting were top notch, and they nailed it, man. And it resonated really well with the community as well. Like, people enjoyed the game that have played it. It sold really well. So hearing about a third game coming, it doesn't surprise me. It makes a lot of sense. What would surprise me is that if this mode, let's call it, is an actual spin-off and on its own. This isn't, an established battle royale genre that is already making crazy money. This is like some weird little.
It sounds like it's going to be a mode more than. I
3v1.
don't think it could. I don't think it could stand on its own legs as a game.
Like that type of a mode where you've got the 4v1, the asymmetrical multiplayer, I believe is the term. They're good if you're playing with like a group of buddies, I find, but playing with randos online, they get to be a bit of a mess and no one knows what's going on. Like, look at Evolve as an example. If anyone played that online with randoms, it was terrible. But if you played it with like your buddies, all of your buddies, your buddy was the monster and your buddies were the humans, it was a blast. And I find like these types of games, they probably work great in the development office with all the guys sitting around after the work's done playing it like this. Is going to be fire when it hits the streets. And it isn't, because we're not all buddies working together 8 hours a day. We're a bunch of randoms when it comes to the internet. So no one's working together and laughing with each other and stuff like that, like these guys do, I swear to God, as they make these games. So I don't think it's going to be a standalone at all. I hope it's just an add-on as a part of the game. Like, I want games to have more. Gears of War style. You got the campaign. You can play it co-op. You've got an escape mode cooperative. You've got a horde mode cooperative and versus multiplayer. Like, that is so jam-packed. I'm not a fan of only single player. When it's there, that's fine. But, it'd be nice, if applicable, of course. Look at Cyberpunk. They've already come out and said once the game launches, they will be launching an added-on multiplayer component to that game. They didn't go into details as to what it is.
Yeah, people got bent out of shape about that, but that's a story for another show.
Yeah, I can just only imagine. Like, I think that is fantastic. I think if they could have worked in something fun, like a God of War deathmatch, everyone's running around with Kratos with different war paint on, throwing axes at each other. It's fun, man. It's fun. Great. Like, multiplayer is something separate from canon. It can be deep in the canon. I know Halo and some games like to have their multiplayer mixed in and tell you why this kind of thing is happening. Why are Spartans fighting each other? Oh, it's training and stuff. That's fine. But I don't like when that stuff gets in the way of actual just enjoyment of the multiplayer modes. Like, we wouldn't have the Reach characters in Horde mode or Batista, say, and or the characters in Terminator if they were willing to only allow lore-specific Gears of War stuff into their Horde or multiplayer. I think for some, and I understand, they get upset at that. Like, my lore, you're spitting all over it, multiplayer or not. I get it, I do. But at the same time, I think there's more people that have a good time having like a hot pink Lancer running around as Sarah Connor, and they're going up against, a bunch of guys from Halo. I think that's absolutely fantastic. It's multiplayer. It's not really hurting anybody at the end of the day. So I'd like to see that happen in Resident Evil, man. Bring in a fully fleshed out, fun, of course. I'm not a fan of tacked on multiplayer, dog. It's trash. So give me fun, functional, working multiplayer wherever it can. And I hope that's a mode for this. I think it'd be great. So Resident Evil is all of a sudden more than just play through the campaign. It's like a puzzle game as well. So once you know where you're going and everything, unless you love shooting zombies in the face, which I do, but that's kind of all the game has to offer. I've been here. I've done that before. It's almost the essence of, I got to say it, a one and done. You maybe a two and done because you go back just for one more time. But I love when games offer more modes and more options for people to play and enjoy it in different ways. So I hope the mode turns out to be something, good for one, first and foremost, good. but just a mode and not a standalone game.
That's what people are starting to talk about, whether or not, again, I said this, and I as a Capcom fan, I'm right there with you. I don't think that you could put this mode out there, even if it was a $20 standalone game, and it wouldn't be torn to pieces. This has got to be, again, I think it's going to be a mode within Resident Evil 3, like it was being, reported or leaked. Because, obviously, again, Resident Evil 3 is a shorter game than 2, so it would make sense that they want to, Capcom, you say, I'm not sure who was it about the quality of what Capcom has been doing, but, since Resident Evil 7, they have been on a tear with making good games, great games. In fact, they have once again become the darling of the gaming community because of the quality titles they've been putting out, and they don't want to take a chance and lose that to putting out a subpar or you run through Resident Evil 3 in 8 hours and you're like, wait, I spent $60, this is not right. Maybe they're going to give you this mode in there to kind of add it on, so as they say, okay, listen, you got your single player campaign, here's an original mode that we created, go crazy, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see, but September 9th is obviously next week, it's Monday, but Crispy Bomb, I want to go to you next, dude, because I don't know what your take is on Resident Evil, but for me personally, Resident Evil 3, when this was rumored, before even 2 Remake was released, I was giddy because, again, I'm a huge Nemesis fan. Love the fact that you played as Jill Valentine in a new outfit, in Raccoon City. It was a great tale, and because of what they did with Resident 2, the remake, I can only imagine how amazing this could possibly be. What are your expectations for a possible Resident Evil 3 released early 2020?
Well, I'll be honest, the last time I really beat a Resident Evil was original Resident Evil 2. And, that game back then was just a masterpiece, compared to what all the games that were out at that time. As far as, a Resident Evil 3 remake, you got to roll with the punches. You got to keep going. I mean, clearly Resident Evil 2 remake was a huge success. So, hopefully they can duplicate that for you guys that are huge fans. Me, for survival horror, I'm more of like a Dying Light fan. Which that 4v1 mode is actually already in Dying Light. By the way, Zemi, stay away from that game. Just saying.
I know.
But, it's something that, once you play something like Dying Light, it's hard for me to go back to what I've done in the past type thing.
Okay.
And, I know it's a different game, but is it like Gears of War Ultimate Edition different, or is it a totally different game? And, that's where I have to go back to, because when I played through Ultimate Edition, I'm like, this is kind of the same game. They did rebuild a lot of the set pieces and everything, but it really is the same game. So it's hard for me to justify, getting back into it quite yet. Resident Evil 8 might have me intrigued. I mean, but I don't know. Dying Light 2 is coming out, so that's about it.
Well, I mean, listen, look, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to tell you this right now. 2020 is not going to have any shortage of game releases, and I think people are going to be either collecting cans or selling themselves on the corner to afford everything that's going to be coming out. But I want to go to BitCloud Gaming. Yeah, sorry, King is... Oh my God! Yeah, I know. I throw a joke in every now and again.
About the worst scenario, but okay.
Yeah, it is the worst. Don't sell yourself, folks. Collect cans. It's legal. Okay. Don't say BoomStick told me to sell myself and then I get in trouble.
We are not advocating you out there doing that.
Yeah, no, we certainly do not. But
he said it without a stutter too. He said it perfectly.
I know it was clean.
And remember, he's a retired police officer.
That is correct. I want this to be understand. Do not listen to what BoomStick is saying about selling yourself on the corner. But Big Cloud, I want to get your opinion, your final opinion on this before we move on to the next topic. What are your thoughts on Capcom not only outsourcing Resident Evil 3 the remake to maybe a company like Bluepoint, which if they were doing it, I'd have no problem with that because obviously they're masters at their craft. to finish Resident Evil 8, but are you excited that there could possibly and potentially be a Resident Evil 3 remake in early 2020?
Yeah, I think it was the first show I was invited to. We talked about was it Dino Crashes?
Yes.
Being in it. Yeah. So to tell you the truth, I'm hyped for it regardless. Like I already know it's going to be good. 'Cause let's be real here. Resident Evil 2 was pretty much a love letter to fans.
It certainly
Like,
was.
from start to finish, everything about it. Like they didn't just put no high textures in the game and just go, hey, we're gonna use the same, voices or whatnot. No, they legit went all out and made you this amazing game. And in many ways, it has elements of Resident Evil 4 in there just from the way you move around. It has elements of Resident Evil 4. So I like what they've done. It really is a love letter to the fans. The sound design was amazing. They made Mr. X terrifying.
Yep.
And that's something that was a little, a lot of people were a little afraid of until we got him. Then that pretty much was, that turned into a meme because all the mods came into play with Mr. X. But yeah, I thought that was really, really good. As far as Nemesis is concerned, Nemesis has been the main game that we all been hyped for the longest. So, and like you said earlier, yeah, it is shorter than Resident Evil 2. So the fact that this new game mode possibly could be an addition and could very well lead to a spinoff type of game, I think it's cool because it can act like a beta test in a way, right? We'll get it for free. We don't have to necessarily, buy into it and buy a separate game for this. We get it with the game and you can try this out. As far as the next installment is concerned, let's see. The last one they came out, that was the one when they were in the house, right? It was like that little Addams Family twist.
Yes, that was 7. Yeah, that was 2017.
Okay. So I'm not sure if they're going to go with that same style.
I believe the reason why they're doing the remakes is because there were fans that wanted them to go back to the third-person perspective, and I'm pretty sure that I've read that Resident Evil 8 is going to continue after the events of 7 in a first-person based mode.
Okay, so they're catering to both sides.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I played that in VR. That is the scariest game
don't do it
on this planet.
Yeah, don't do it in VR unless you have someone to shock you if you drop dead.
I was curious about that because I was like, are they just going to abandon something? Because remember that was like Resident Evil 7 was the one that kind of renewed people's faith. Like you know what, Capcom still is can still be scary. That kind of renewed their faith. So yeah, that's good. That's good that they're going to continue that. I see nothing wrong with that. As far as the remakes are concerned, you already know how I feel. Boom, I'm excited regardless, but. The main game that I've been dying to get for the longest, and especially with these next-gen consoles around the corner and the way things have been going with next-gen, I am hyped for Dino Crisis.
Yes.
That is a game that has been on my radar for the longest. I've been dying to see how they can, improve it. I mean, there was so much, limitations back then, right, in terms of what they could do back with the hardware. Can you just imagine Velociraptors breaking through walls like Mr. X and all that?
Oh, wow.
And crazy set pieces. Can you imagine stuff like that? Come on, that is insane. I would love to see stuff like that. Or, you can actually see them jumping, like you think you're safe. You jump, you go through the door, you lock the doors, and you see like a little cutscene like they did back in the original. Remember the cutscene? They open the door, you're like, oh my God. It's in here,
Yeah.
You see them jump over the gates, that's incredible. There's so much tension that can be added with Dino Crisis. There's so many avenues they can go with Dino Crisis, and we're not even just talking about Velociraptors. We're talking about the smaller dinosaurs, the conkeys, the little carnivore,
the little ones that attack you 50 at a time.
Yeah, and the ones that killed the dude from Jurassic Park 2, I think. They eviscerated them. And you were like, oh, okay, there's no way these things are that vicious that you see him like, oh my God, so the possibilities are really, really endless. I would love to see the new T-Rex, see how the T-Rex was doing, because remember that's like the main enemy you face,
and he's chasing you through the game.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like a nemesis kind of a feeling, except with a giant T-Rex breaking through things.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, would they continue that same avenue where you hear big giant footsteps outside the world and you can actually see it and you can still interact with it even without, without the set pieces.
Yeah, no, it's
so
definitely
many possibilities
for sure.
Yeah, and I have faith in them because I like their new, the new system they're going about this, especially whoever is behind the sound design of these games now. deserves an extra pay raise. I'm telling you right now, that's how well they've done it.
If you use headphones in Resident Evil 2, it changes the game.
Yes.
It changes. It literally changes the game because you hear. See, when you're not sure what's around the corner when it's dark, and just playing it from the TV speakers, you don't hear the detail. When you have your headphones on and it's just your ears and those headphones, you hear the thing breathing behind, around the corner.
You can hear a liquor. The liquor from like the tone. You can tell if a liquor is literally outside the door by the way it's like hissing. You can hear that. Mr. X, you can hear. Now, obviously, Mr. X is synonymous with the huge, thumping footsteps.
Yeah.
However, it changes depending where he's at. So it might sound lighter if he's above you.
Yeah.
It might sound real heavy if he's around the corner. Or it might get even like more intense as he might have saw you. And like when he sees you, you hear the thump, thump, thump. Like he starts walking super, super fast towards you. So, it's good. That's how good the system is. And I do think they're on a roll with the way they're going about it with Resident Evil. As far as everything else is concerned, I have no doubts and I have no fears at all.
Yes, well, this was selfishly enough, this was a great topic because you know what? I could talk about Resident Evil all day, but you guys came here to hear other topics, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to the next topic. And BitCloud, I want to go to you first on this one. CD Projekt Red has been making lots of headlines lately. Obviously, the no gender situation, the multiplayer situation, but we're not going to talk about that because that's been talked to death. We're going to talk about the potential that they just teased that they're working on The Witcher 4. And this was brought to the light in a new earnings report. In the report, the company will be moving to a dual franchise model with its two series, The Witcher and, of course, Cyberpunk. This will be supported by several independent product lines that also permit optimization and manufacturing and financial activities that, of course, migrate risk for the company. Now, listen, I got to be honest with you. I don't know what risk they're talking about because CD Projekt Red is the creme de la creme of developers. They are the media darling of the industry. What they've done with The Witcher 3, listen, what could you say? It's some people in some people's minds, and it wouldn't be wrong to say it's the game of the generation. I would disagree with that, but that's again for another podcast.
Yeah, it's for everybody,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Cyberpunk 2077, I gotta be honest with you, I think it's going to trump The Witcher 3, and I dare say that because come on, folks, we have seen almost a couple of hours of the game already, from trailers and breakdowns, and we know what the game is going to look like. But when it comes to these industry reports, I am going to say that there's a lot of the jargon that some of us may or may not understand. So I'm going to break it down in a way that makes perfect sense. CD Projekt Red has been talking about this dual process, and it makes sense because obviously they made a lot of money from The Witcher 3. And when you make a lot of money and the game is very popular, they add developers, increasing the size of the studio. Now, depending on who you ask, there are some people, and I've said this on numerous shows, that consider the DLC, the second one, Blood and Wine, to be better than the actual game. And that made them a lot of money because obviously people went out and bought it in droves because it was that good. After the first DLC, they released Blood and Wine, and it was a mega hit. So when I saw this story about the and I use air quotes here, the dual process that they're looking to do, it only makes perfect sense because both of these franchises are ultra popular. I mean, we know what The Witcher brings to the table. We have an idea what they're going to do with the Cyberpunk. But in your opinion, do you think that this is something that they kind of know the fans are looking for in regards to a Witcher 4?
Well, if you think about it, think of, obviously, this is a new IP, right, with Cyberpunk. So think of Cyberpunk as their, opportunity just to give feedback for a better one. Let's say they didn't really deliver with this one. They can give feedback with this one, and they will have something to fall back on. So they will already have a plan B, which would be Witcher. So they would kind of already be filling both sides, so they'd be fine. But you know how everything is on the internet. Like, I'm talking one small screenshot sent a riff in Twitter.
Yes.
You know, when it came to Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And people really went crazy over that, saying downgrade and all that. I'm like, guys, the game isn't even finished. You know, game's not finished. There was no hint at anything at all. It's just, you know, what you saw, you know. But again, this is what's going on. People will nitpick. They will look for stuff that's just
the negativity is sickening, isn't it? Listen, folks,
it's
boring already.
I thought Twitter would be the worst, right? And I saw a few channels dedicated to this. And one particular channel said that the game is dying and all this. The game's not even out.
I didn't even see
that.
And
I went to the dude's channel and I was like, okay. He says this about every game. Every game that pretty much has a lot of hype behind it. For example, Spider-Man, Resident Evil 2, Red Dead 2, all that. He says the game is dying, he's being murdered, blah, blah, blah. And and people fall for that. And people, you know, they carry that message from different platforms and they go, yeah, this is what's going on. I'm like, guys, it's not finished. You know, if you don't want to play Cyberpunk, then don't play Cyberpunk. You know, I just nobody's going to force you to play it.
No one's twisting your arm. Right.
Exactly. If you don't want to play Cyberpunk, you don't have to play Cyberpunk. Go play something else. This is where the whole dual process thing comes into motion here. Let's say you don't like Cyberpunk. Let's say you were never feeling Cyberpunk, but you probably were thinking about supporting it because it was something new and you were a fan of CD Projekt Red. Now you have an option to wait for your actual legit game that you've been wanting for the longest. So you don't even have to take a gamble on Cyberpunk if you don't want to. You have you have the next Witcher. So they're basically, you know, they're appealing to both sides. It's fine. I see no problem here. Witcher is great. Witcher has an awesome soundtrack. I'm loving the soundtrack for Witcher. So as far as CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk has always had my attention. So I'm with Jay Fonzarelli on this one. I'm waiting for this one to really drop. You know, next gen is really going to be interesting too, because you already know this is more than likely going to be a next gen title in terms of being pushed.
Whatever they're going to do, I don't know how they're going to get it to run the way we want it to run on. I mean, it could run on the X probably very well because the X is the most powerful console. It would probably run certainly better on the PlayStation 4 Pro, but I think you're right. I think that this game is going to honestly be made
optimized.
Optimized in a way that you've seen on, you know, super PC rigs in the next generation with the PS5 and of course the Scarlet.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, so that's why I would see it, man. And for the most part, it looks good. You know, I mean, that's fine. You know, they got Keanu Reeves for God's sake, so they're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, before we get on to the next member of the panel, King David had to exit stage left. It is his wife's birthday today, so a big happy birthday to her. She's a lovely person, and he, of course, as being the good guy that he is, he wants to spend time with his wife, so he actually will get a good outro on the way out. So everyone in the chat, wish his wife a very happy birthday. But I want to go on to Zemi Games. I want to go to you on this because you are an absolutely huge fan of what Cyberpunk is going to do. I think that you are super stoked. What are your thoughts on the fact that they're going to take a dual approach to making the next Witcher game, which we didn't think we were going to get?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about it, obviously. I mean, I love The Witcher. I love what, the idea of Cyberpunk. I haven't, obviously played it, but I'm pretty sure that is quite possibly going to be my game of the year next year. I don't know. I mean, Halo Infinite. I don't know. I mean, there's so many games, right? But I think it's a very good decision. Obviously, the more games you put out, the more money you get. Hopefully that doesn't, kind of corrupt that, fantastic studio. Hopefully they're not biting off more than they can chew. But I think, ultimately it does, I think it's a smart decision, especially with them as a studio. They release, they take their time with their games, right?
Yes,
we all
do.
know that.
Yep.
And if you release a really bad version of a game, you know, I don't think that they would, but let's just say that they did. You know, it might be 8 years until they can, you know, try to fix that and come out with, you know, a new IP or a new game. And so doing this, I think, is going to give them better, you know, more security. Whereas if they did goof up and they released a bad game, then, you know, they have The Witcher coming out 2 years later rather than 6 years later. So I think it is a smart decision. It is kind of concerning as far as, you know, will this change that company and their, you know, their ideology of make sure that a game is 100% before you release it? That's what's kind of concerning about it for me. But, you know, I haven't been let down by CD Projekt Red, so I'm pretty sure they know exactly what they're doing. And I cannot wait for a Witcher 4. You know, it was never like out of my mind that I didn't ever think that there wouldn't be a Witcher 4. I mean, it's by far their most successful franchise.
Yes.
And they don't really have that many franchises to begin with. So, I mean, I was pretty sure there was going to be a Witcher 4, but hopefully, you know, I mean, was that confirmed 100% or is that just kind of like a
No.
rumor?
They're going to be working on another Witcher. Now they didn't say
so
the word.
is,
yeah, they didn't say 4.
They didn't say 4.
No,
okay.
but yeah, I mean, could they move the series forward with a different protagonist? I don't know.
Well, they could do a prequel.
They could do a prequel. Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
There's a lot of
huge
stories untold about Geralt. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think ultimately it's a good decision right now. I just hope that it doesn't come to bite them later on.
I agree with you on a lot of points, and that's actually a really good thing that you touched on, because they're a development house that is known for being meticulous with their releases, no bugs. You know, they're very apologetic to the fan base. They like to give back to the fan base as much as they can. If you remember when The Witcher 3 released, I think they had 13 weeks of free DLC. Now, it wasn't massive stuff, but 13 weeks of free anything is pretty incredible, and it was every week for the first, I believe, and again, I'm pretty sure it was 13 weeks. I'm with you. I don't want to see them bite off too much, because obviously Cyberpunk is going to be something they're going to have to support after, you know, a post-launch.
Another thing too is, you know, whenever they release The Witcher 3, the physical edition, the $60 version, you got like all of that DLC. You also had like the soundtrack to the game in the box with it, if I'm not mistaken, and it came in like a big, nice like cardboard sleeve. Like it was a really, really nice version of the game, and so many companies don't do that, and they did.
Yeah, they go the extra mile. There's no doubt about it. They are the company. That's why they're considered the darlings of the industry. And you can't really say anything negative about them, because they do care about the fan base. They do take care in the work that they put out there for the fans that enjoy their titles. And I'm expecting that whenever The Witcher 3 comes out, and I'm not expecting that for 5 years, at the minimum, in my opinion, that it's going to be as amazing as 3 was. Before I get on to, of course, Crispy Bomb on this, I have to thank Enrique from the Basement Radio Arcade for the outstanding $2 super chat. He says Cyberpunk Next Gen would be sick, and yes, it would be absolutely amazing on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet. But Crispy Bomb, I want to get your opinion on this. Are you excited to hear that we are going to get another Witcher game, whether it's, you know, in 2 years or 5, which is what I'm thinking? Are you happy that they're going to continue telling, you know, the Witcher lore story?
I think it's great for Witcher fans. Unfortunately, I'm not really one.
I'm right there with you. I never beat 3. I got about 10 hours into it, and I got lost.
I have a problem with these huge open world games. Like it took me forever to beat Fallout 3, for the love of God, because like I'm such like a completionist. I want every little tiny little component and everything else. So I mean, it's one of those games that it's like the setting and everything's just not my thing. I'm glad for everybody that's excited for it. I mean, clearly it is an amazing game. You know what I mean? I'm not disregarding that at all. Cyberpunk's more my thing. that futuristic setting, like I'm sure like your whole being itself will be upgradable. It's going to be kind of cool. I wasn't too off put. I think we're 9 or 8 months away from the release date. So I'm not really worried about that game, but it is smart. I mean, you don't want to just, okay, we release Cyberpunk and, there's probably Witcher players like, I really not interested in Cyberpunk. Well, you have both games come out in a decent time frame. It makes sense for everybody. And, it just, I'm happy to see gaming just exploding in front of our eyes.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, folks, the holidays are coming up. Birthdays before the end of the year, Christmas, obviously, plenty of the December holidays will follow. I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you a word of a BoomStick advice. Ask for gift cards and tuck them away in your underwear drawer. Forget that you have them, because 2020, my God, is going to be, it potentially could be one of the most expensive gaming years in the history of the business, at least for me personally, because I think I'm very transparent about my gaming habits. I love supporting all 3 platforms. I don't support PC because I'm not a PC guy, but I do support the PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, and of course the Xbox One. And next year, we know for a fact we're getting the Scarlet. We know we're getting the PlayStation 5. And there are talks and rumors floating around that we may get a Switch Pro, which, of course, Boom would have to have, even if he has to sell himself on the corner. That's right, I said it. I don't give a shit. I'm going to sell myself if I need to, because I'm not going to miss out on any of these launches. But with that said, so Shady, I know you're going to have a lot to say about this. You're excited for Cyberpunk 2077. 2020 is going to be huge. But what are your thoughts on The Witcher 4 possibly being in some sort of pre-production?
Certainly sounds like it is. I believe the terms they were throwing around were like, we want to focus on our, I think it was like gem franchises or something like that. It was a really weird term that I actually haven't heard thrown around from other devs before, but it's obviously meaning their main games that they've made. And the only other main game that they've made other than this new Cyberpunk coming out is The Witcher.
Yeah.
So I would certainly assume so. The franchise is huge. It's massively, massively propped up by both the community and, critics alike. I'm with you guys. It didn't do anything for me. I didn't give it the time to do all that story stuff. And
it's very big. It's very, very large. Yeah.
The fantasy, man. I'm a little bit burnt out. Between games and Hollywood, we have been getting 2 tons of fantasy ever since like the first Lord of the Rings movie made it popular. And it's fine. I don't hate fantasy at all, but I'm just a little bit tired of it. And I found that The Witcher was like fantasy cranked right up, like big time. Just the words for everything and the locations and the names. And at the end of the day, the game was a lot of it comes down to the dialogue and the choices and the repercussions and stuff like that. That's fine. I thought the combat was it was serviceable. Like the moment to moment gameplay is serviceable, which is better than being bad. But it wasn't tight like Batman or Shadow of War, Mordor and stuff, which is what I was into at the time, big time. Like when that came out, I was playing those. So to jump into The Witcher, the combat didn't get to me instantly, and I knew that it's going to be like a 300-400 hour romp for me. So I'm kind of like, yeah, there's a lot to play. So it just it sat on the back burner forever. I don't have anything really bad to say about it, but it didn't do anything amazing in the hour and a half-ish that I did give it. Okay. So for the fans, I'm really hoping that it is true, that they come out and they deliver on, continue with this franchise that just so many people talk about as if it is truly the game of the gen. And it very well may be for them, and that's totally fine. So to see the company talk like they're going to keep going with this and keep going with Cyberpunk, because I think Cyberpunk is set up to be a massive, massive success for them. My God, it's going to be big. It certainly has my attention. That aesthetic is way, way more up my alley. So right out the gate, I'm more interested, and I'm even more willing to put up with, let's call it serviceable gameplay moment to moment, just because of the aesthetic involved, that future Cyberpunk aesthetic, man.
It has me very excited for sure.
That's right. Whereas because Witcher was fantasy, which is already not my favorite, the gameplay, if it was absolutely stellar, I think I would have been more gripped. But because it was what it was, I just magnetically pulled to it, if you will. But I think it's true. I think it's going to happen. And this company's a lot bigger in manpower and the money that they have than a lot of people think. Like they own GOG, where you can buy all your games, without any type of copyright garbage and stuff that people don't like. You just buy from GOG and you get your game, you play it. They don't have spyware and all that other kind of stuff on there. And people love it from them. They 100% own that. So if you're buying Cyberpunk on PC, you buy it from GOG.com. They get all the proceeds, 100%. And that's pretty awesome. So they're making all that money from there. Not to mention Witcher is like, the game just doesn't stop selling. It's a constant success. It's making them mad bank. I think in the interview I read said that Witcher made what they're trying to do with Cyberpunk just so much more realistic and doable because of the success that it had. So I hope it continues with both franchises. I want them to do well. I'm not a fan of every decision they make, but it's not going to ruin, the overall game experience for me, if you will. But yeah, man, I like what I see and hear about this company. I'm so hyped for Cyberpunk. Yeah, man, I hope it's The Witcher for all the fans. And when it is, I hope whatever this new one is, it grips me. Like it does something.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some sort of evolution in the not the way they tell the story. The storytelling is amazing. It's everything else. It's the weapon crafting. It's the potion making. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. It seemed overly complicated, and it's something that it detracted from the game for me personally. That's just me.
I understand for some that's awesome, and on the higher difficulties, it was like necessary. You had to have the right oil to kill that werewolf on the one blade and stuff like that. And some people, they're like, that makes the game just phenomenal. Whereas to get around having to do that at all, you could have played it on a lower difficulty. But by doing that, I find a lot of games the AI becomes just brain dead. Like as much as it's easier and I don't have to oil up every sword with a different magic something, the AI just stands there and gets chopped down now, so it's no longer engaging at all. So it's a bit of a give take. Like I can't say that this game did that specifically. I didn't give it nearly the time, but I hope whatever it is that they come out with as far as Witcher goes, like I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be, that it does something that the last one didn't to get me as well. Otherwise, just keep doing them, man, because the fans seem to they love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, listen, you know what? We're going to move on to the next topic, and that was a good one because I enjoyed talking about Cyberpunk 2077. And you know what? I actually enjoyed talking about The Witcher, even though I didn't beat the game and only put about maybe 10 or 15 hours into it, and I lost touch with the game. I know some people are going to be like, that BoomStick guy's a fraud, but if you look at my game playing, I got 200 hours in Assassin's Creed. That was amazing, and I would actually play that over The Witcher, but I'm hoping that The Witcher 4 does bring some refinement to the systems that I thought were lacking in 3. They seem, again, overly complicated for me. But I want to move on to a game that's going to come out in about 2 months. It's probably going to be one of the best-selling games in 2019. It's a multi-plat. But there is some concern behind its release. And I'm talking about, of course, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And there was a discussion with the lead developers that had a lot of gamers calling foul, especially when the presence of loot boxes and microtransactions were talked about. And I had to bring up this story because those are still considered dirty words within the industry. And the in-game purchases obviously have ramped up for, of course, Activision, which is known for their choking out the community when it comes to trying to get blood from a stone. And what many fans, including myself, are concerned with is Call of Duty going to become a pay-to-win title with better graphics? Well, during a sit-down interview with Game Informer, the matter was addressed last week by Infinity Ward developers Joe Seacott and Taylor Kurosaki. And though they didn't go into specifics about the microtransactions, this is what they had to say. He stressed that Infinity Ward is working hard to ensure quote-unquote player first or player forward system. It's something that's really important to us on the development side. We want, when we release the game and new content, for players to get access to that content and have fun with it. So it's a huge focus for us. We want players enjoying our game, having fun in our game, and just enjoying the game in general. But I'm going to say this. His comments did not fill me with confidence, to be completely honest, and it seemed confusing. The player first comment was understandable, right? They want to put the players first. That makes perfect sense. The play forward system, I don't know, man. That to me just doesn't really, like I said, it doesn't fill me with confidence. And again, because, listen, I trust Infinity Ward that they're going to make a great game. Who I don't trust is Activision to once again choke out its community thinking about money, money, money. And again, I'm the first, one of the first people in this community to say, listen, folks, at the end of the day, it's a business. But what I don't like about it is when it gets gross. And Activision and EA are notorious for making things gross. So here's my question to the panel. And Shady, I want to go right back to you on this. You see, I'm perfectly okay with microtransactions when it comes to cosmetics. I've been very open about that. Though I will have an issue if I have to spend real-world money to get a gun that you have to grind 600 hours to get. And it can only be, or, and again, this could be very well the truth, be acquired through these proposed microtransactions. What are your thoughts on this, dude?
I don't see them selling guns, to be honest. I've even heard that this game has less actual guns in it, but way more modifications to them. Like you can
so you can actually make the gun your own way.
Rifle out of nowhere. Like there's so much variation to the guns, but there's less of them. I don't think they're going to be selling guns, so to speak. I could see experience boosts being sold. I could certainly see cosmetics being sold. And as I mentioned earlier on the show, I'm not a fan of the phrase, it's only cosmetic. Like, that is a huge thing for gamers. We all know it. That's why people buy it. That's why we grind to unlock them. That's why these studios charge up to $20 each for them, is they know that this is an important thing for a lot of people, is varying up your look and not going in as just default. It is a really, really big thing. So I don't like giving these companies as, a blank check, so to speak, when it comes to charging me for cosmetics. It's really easy for them as well to have these sweetest looking cosmetics suddenly locked behind only money with zero way of me to unlock it in game. I really enjoy Anthem. I play it a lot because of the cosmetics and stuff like that. But I've spoken before, it drip feeds in-game coin, absolutely drip feeds it. If I do every challenge, every daily, every weekly, it is still 3 solid weeks to build up enough in-game currency to buy one set of armor that they have. And those armors only stick around for 3 days and then they're gone. Like, they play off of the fear of missing out in these games. I mean, even Gears of War is doing it, but their content is free and unlockable. If you don't unlock those cosmetics and stuff in the 3-month event while it's there, they're gone. You don't get them anymore. So if you want them, you have to play Gears of War. If you want cosmetics in any game, in any event, you usually have to play a lot. And I can understand why they want to sell them. It makes sense. People want to look different. I think it's also for the guys that they just don't have the time. You got a lot of hardcore gamers that, grew up playing whatever franchise, that went and got a hardcore career that eats up a lot of their day. Mm-hmm. Maybe they got a family that adds into that as well, but they're still a hardcore gamer. They still got the skill. They don't have the time, but they do have the money, and it allows them to look a little different as well, or get a boost so they can catch up to their buddies or whatnot. I think that's what a lot of these microtransactions, originally anyways, came into the industry as, but they've been messed with big time because the amount of money that's being made. I think that's too expensive. If you're going to charge me for only cosmetics, make the price, I think, represent the way that they are saying that. $2 or $3 for a new skin, and sell them in mass as opposed to making them $20 and getting what you can from the guys that can't help themselves. 20 is too much, man.
I agree.
That's
$20
of the
is gross.
game.
It's gross. Yeah.
Entire game. It's insane. 10 is too much. If they're gonna sell me a cosmetic, it should
$7,
be $2,
I
$3,
think,
$4,
yeah.
even $5. Yeah, $7. That's okay. It's starting to push it, man. For me, But I think they should be cheap. Make these approachable. Prove to me that it's only cosmetic in their mind as well by letting me only throw them a couple dollars. Only $3 for only cosmetics. I like the sound of that. But yeah, I don't think they're going to have necessarily pay to win, buy guns, buy attachments, if you will. But I can see cosmetics for sure, and even boosts. That's what Call of Duty does, man. That's where they do make a lot of their cash. And again, I don't like the argument that these companies need it. Without it, they're not going to make them. No, gaming is bigger now than it has ever been.
Yes.
Xbox One is a massive fail because it sold just over 40 million. My God, we're talking like the SNES, the N64, the original PlayStation, stuff like that, the Genesis. They weren't selling more than 40 million. The industry was so much smaller then. There was no DLC coming out the ass all over the place, and they made mad bank. They can today make a quality game. Quality. Don't spend hundreds of millions on marketing either. That's not necessary. And you'll make money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, especially if they support it, post-launch. That's always the important thing.
People keep buying these games. Word of mouth goes out. Sales are constantly happening. So someone who wasn't willing to buy it for full price, no matter how good the reviews are or how much their buddy hypes it up, once it's cheap, they do get in because that hype level was maintained. People aren't brought down by the cosmetics being too expensive or stuff that they want, constantly pushing them to stores and everything. Like, it's fine if you want to sell me something, but I think it's too expensive. They're selling me something at a cost that isn't only, in my mind, it's not only $20. It's, my God, that's $20. Like, I'm sticker shocked.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's funny. You said something really interesting about the $20. If you don't know, and you said, well, you can buy a game with that. Well, yeah, right now, if you're interested, and again, I'm not making any marketing on this, but you said $20. I just want to, compare apples to apples here. I wouldn't pay $20 for a Captain America skin. Hopefully, with all the skins they're gonna have in the Avengers game. But you can go buy Torchlight 2 for $20, and the game is as big as Diablo 3. So I see your point. It does make. I think the $20 price tag that you see in Fortnite, for instance, is disgusting.
I know these developers, they definitely hide behind, like, it's okay, guys, it's only cosmetic, it doesn't affect the game. At the same time, if you don't have the newest, hottest cosmetic, I mean, especially if you're young, I can only imagine the guys in grade school and stuff, if you don't have that newest Fortnite skin, it's like, you're not allowed to play with me anymore in this match at lunch break because you don't have the new hotness. I mean, you're being seen with me online, you gotta have it, otherwise, no. I mean, my God, if you're that poor kid rocking default, it doesn't matter what your skill level is. Get the hell out. You look like trash. I can imagine it's just brutal. I can only imagine. There's a reason that game is making the money it is. Right?
I hope that kind of cyberbullying doesn't happen in the games,
it does, man. You know it does. It used to be like, did you have the Nike pumps? If not, you're a loser. Now.
Oh
dog, no, get out of my face.
I'm pretty sure it does happen, Boom. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. I really do.
Well, buddy from Call of Duty didn't come right out and just be like, nope, don't worry about it. I think that's just the business side of things. As a big corporation, as anyone who's in big business stuff, you never speak in like absolutes. We will never do that. That is not going to happen. That is very rarely done, because if anything changes, if some decision later down the road, you're like, actually, maybe we should, people freak out. Remember that one interview 5 years ago where you said we won't do it, and now here it is. And people just lose it, man.
Yeah.
So they tend to not speak in those types of ways. So I'm not surprised that he didn't just instantly put the kibosh on it and let everyone, go to sleep real good tonight, not worrying about it. But I don't think it's going to be pay to win, if you will.
Yeah, okay, well, that makes sense. But Zemi, I want to get your opinion on this, because obviously you have a real strong opinion when it comes to companies taking advantage of its player base. But before I get your opinion, I have to welcome Salty from the Saltiest Gaming Podcast in the chat. Salty, thanks for being here. I just want to make an announcement. He dropped his Gears 5 spoiler-free review. If you're a fan of me, you got to be a fan of Salty. Head over to his channel and give that bad boy a watch, because you're going to get an honest opinion. But Zemi, I want to go to you. We've talked ad nauseum when it comes to the way companies sometimes overcharge their fan base. And when you talk about Activision, when you talk about EA, people get nervous because, people, again, Call of Duty looks amazing, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. In fact, I have the $200 collector's edition that comes with the infrared the night vision goggles, because I have the original goggles in storage from the original Modern Warfare. So I'm glad that they did that call back to the to this. In your opinion, do you have any concerns about Activision making Call of Duty a pay-to-win, especially in the multiplayer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already seen it before. They've already done it before. It's already been a thing in multiple previous games with them having the loot boxes that whenever you with guns that you can only get out of those loot boxes. And typically those guns, whenever they first come out, are really, really, really good. You know what I mean? And then you have all these people going and playing the lottery, $20, $40, $50, $60 to try to open up these loot boxes to get these guns. I mean, we've already seen it before. And I mean, even if they say that they're not going to do it, well, I mean, it's Activision. Do you really trust them?
I don't.
you know what I mean? I mean, like, we've already seen it be pay to win, before. I mean, it's, I just don't, I'm just used to it, I'm just used to it at this point. Like, I already kind of know that kind of thing's going to happen. It upsets me, but I'm still going to, I'm just going to shut up and play the game because I think this is probably the best looking Call of Duty since I was like 15 years old. And so I'm super pumped for it. And I hate that they do it, but they're gonna do it. I mean,
well, you don't have to buy it. That is for sure. You definitely don't have to buy
true.
it. Let's just hope that you can earn it in the game. They don't make it unattainable. Like, well, unless you play multiplayer for 732 hours, you're not going to unlock this.
Oh, they'll find some way to include.
Yeah. I mean, they will. Zemi, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, yeah. I mean, on the flip side of that, I mean, I definitely think that they're going to do it. But on the flip side of it, they may not do it as hard as what they've done previously. They may not put in loot boxes necessarily. It might just be microtransactions. I don't really know. I think that they're going to put loot boxes in there and just like full swing it. But I think that Activision needs to be very, very careful because they're not high up on that pedestal like they used to be. Fortnite's out, PUBG's out, a lot of other multiplayer games are out nowadays. Game Pass, for instance, somebody can buy Game Pass, play Gears of War, play Halo, whatever. I mean, if they got to be careful because if they continue to take advantage of their player base like they have in previous years, their player base may not be there.
Well, if you remember, yes, Blackout sold Black Ops 4 sold well, but the player base dropped off significantly after its launch.
All they had was one game mode, pretty much, that brought the masses, and that was Blackout. After Blackout, that was it.
Yeah, but, you know what? I'm Big Cloud. I'm glad you spoke up because I was going to go to you next. Obviously, you have you have your own show that you run, right? You're very very vocal about stuff on social media. Do you feel that like Zemi was saying that Activision has to be really cautious how they approach this?
Well, here's the thing. Every time so this is my take on the whole situation. Now, you notice with every entry of Call of Duty, we kind of always say the same thing. Oh, this is the best looking Call of Duty that we've had in a long time. So obviously Activision knows how to pretty up the game. That's all they've been doing for the longest. If you look at Call of Duty Black Ops 4, like we just said earlier, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 did not have a story mode whatsoever.
Terrible.
Their saving grace, their selling point was the Blackout mode, which is basically Battle Royale mode, right? But if I remember correctly, the game sold insanely well for not having a single player and all that, right? And they made an insane amount of money, and didn't they say, oh, that wasn't enough?
Yes, they did in fact say that.
It wasn't enough. So the fact that a lot of people believe that they're not going to put that same attitude towards this one. I'm sorry. It's not like Activision to not do it. That's in their character. Activision likes to squeeze every little penny out of you that they can possibly get. It doesn't matter if it's the $2 that you pay for a player card or for a skin. They want that money regardless. Now, looking at the situation as is, Now, I know a lot of you say it's not going to happen. Y'all don't think pay to win, like, y'all don't think guns are going to be purchasable in this game. I'm going to have to disagree. It might not happen immediately, right? But it's going to happen as soon as that player base dips. They're going to do it. They do it every single year. They do it every single installment. They find ways to do it. Hell, they even did it with Call of Duty Ghost. And Call of Duty Ghost, they went the extra mile having you paying for the announcer for your kill streaks.
Yeah, they sure did, didn't they?
Remember that?
Yep.
They always find ways to incorporate this stuff. Now, as far as playing this game, aside from the whole pay to win aspect, there's a lot of other stuff they got to fix. Now, the spawns, I don't know if y'all played the beta. The spawns are terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible spawns. You can be killed in like 5 minutes of just, or 5 seconds of just spawning in immediately because you're all looking at each other directly across the map, and there's literally next to no cover, and there's little choke points, which again, I don't even know why this is still a thing in Call of Duty, right? Where stuff that you can just climb over and just sit there and wait and pick people off. That kind of ruins the point of what you're trying to sell, right? You're trying to sell a team-based game where you all have to move in unison to take out your targets, right? Okay, if you have checkpoints or choke points where you can just sit there all day and not move, that kind of ruins the point of what you're trying to sell.
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. Well, it ruins the game in a whole. Yeah. Why would you want to play that?
Yeah, but why would you want to pay $60 just to sit in a corner? And this is the thing that people are, they always do. Like you'll always run into these type of people. Sure, you'll run into those who are naturally good at the game. They'll run around. You'll face them. You might kill them. They might kill you. And that's fine. That's how it should be. It should be forcing that type of play where you all move. But the fact of the matter is this: is that Activision in general is incompetent. They don't care. They simply don't care. We always hear this excuse: oh, they got to make this quota. They don't have to make no quota. They make billions a year. They don't need no extra nothing. And the fact that this game still to this day does not have no dedicated servers.
It's disgusting. It's gross.
Isn't that disgusting?
Yeah, it is.
And people will give you excuses. Well, the last one had dedicated servers. I'm like, where? What dedicated servers? There's no dedicated servers for Call of Duty. Not with the amount of resources this company has.
And they have the resources. They're a big AAA developer.
Right. They can make the best Call of Duty. Yeah, they can make the best Call of Duty. Hell, Call of Duty is at that point, right, where they could make one Call of Duty and they can legit support it with the amount of resources that Activision has. But the thing about Activision, they always treat Call of Duty like it's a toy. It's like, oh, I got the new toy. This one's right here. It's shiny. It's got this feature, right? And then they'll get another one with a completely different feature, and that's different from this one, a different paint job. That's kind of how they treat the franchise. You ever notice how certain abilities and features that you had from previous ones are never in the next one? For example, the ability to lean around corner. Remember that from COD Ghost? Can't do that no more, can you? Can't do that no more. You can't do now. You can do the knee slide in this one, which I understandably so they brought that back. But what happened to the dolphin dive from Black Ops 1? Remember that? The running jump.
Yeah, you jump forward. Yep.
Yeah. Can't do that no more. So they always find ways to remove stuff and add stuff that's just not necessary. In general. As far as cosmetics are concerned, again, I have no problem with cosmetics. We saw this with Black Ops 2. Remember the crazy green luminescent like camos we had back then? I think nobody cared about that stuff, right? Until we got to COD Ghost, where they added the whole pay to win aspect with guns. You remember the Ripper? It was the first ever gun that was an assault rifle and an SMG. That completely broke the game. So I'm pretty sure they will add guns eventually. Now, again, customization is a big thing in this next installment. It's a big thing. But keep in mind, they all they have to do is just add 2 guns. All it could take is just 2 guns to ruin a game. 2.
Yep.
They don't need all you need is 2 to ruin a game. And it's easy to do that with Activision. Activision knows what the kids want, and they know what ticks off the adults, and will force the adults to buy it in the long run to either counter it or just have a smoother experience, so to speak. But that's what Activision does, man. They don't take feedback into consideration. I don't think at all.
No, I would agree with you on that one. And I'm going to be honest with you, they're not getting Boom's money because outside of the single player campaign, I don't play multiplayer. I'm terrible at it. It's just not for me per se.
And a lot of moves are. Oh, I'm sorry, I may cut you off.
No, it's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
There was also another little complaint too. Did y'all notice that we're missing a few key modes from this one?
From which one?
From this next Call of Duty? We're missing some modes here. Where's headquarters?
Oh, I did not even realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's headquarters? Where's ground war?
But I'll actually say this. It doesn't even take a weapon to run the entire game. I mean, you could run the entire game with a beer bottle. Because no, I'm being serious. Okay, Infinite Warfare came out, right? Mm-hmm. The only way to get Call of Duty 4 remastered was to buy the $80 version and get Infinite in, the remastered. I played the Infinite beta, absolutely hated it. Garbage game, right?
Yes.
I only paid $80 to get the remastered. And whenever they released the remaster, they said it was going to be original. They said that they weren't going to be adding any new guns, any new things. It was going to be, basically just an upgrade version of, Call of Duty 4. Mm-hmm. Well, turns out 2 months down the line, I guess their Infinite cells weren't selling very good. Like their loot boxes on there weren't selling very good. So would you like to know what they did? They added loot boxes to Call of Duty 4 remastered, added in beer bottles and stuff like that you could just, like lunge at people and kill them. There were knives in Call of Duty 4 before that, but these beer bottles, they just changed the entire meta of the game and just ruined it.
Yeah. That's what I said, man. I understand the excitement. And this is why we call this the honeymoon phase. Everybody is excited at the first, and it's understandable. It's nothing to be ashamed about. You automatically, it's like looking at new hardware, right? You see new hardware, you see the new possibility. So of course, naturally, you're excited for the new hardware. So it doesn't surprise me people are excited for the next installment. It doesn't surprise me. It happens every year. It's a big franchise. It's still big to this day because, a lot of us played this game in one fashion or the other, right? A lot of us, you go through your friend list. Virtually everybody at least played one Call of Duty, right? I think we all can agree. Everybody played at least one. Not everybody plays all of them, right? I'm not saying you have to play all of them, but at least everybody, even people who's probably watching this, right? A lot of you probably played at least one Call of Duty game. So that's how big Call of Duty is. But to look at the situation that is, man, they'll definitely find ways to milk you completely, The fact that they even sold you guns in Modern Warfare Remastered again is beyond ridiculous at this point. So,
I was outraged. I mean, I paid $80 for that game. $80 for that.
Yeah,
and this is what you get, and you didn't even get nothing special. Nothing special was given. Oh, you just got the ability to have access to this game. That's it. We're not even counting the additional $20. $30 that you probably spent, or that they force you to spend to get into this gambling system just so you can get lucky to get a weapon. And it breaks my heart because I actually like Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 was fun to me. I like the parkour elements of Black Ops 3. I thought it was smooth. I thought it was a cool experience. I had no problems with Black Ops 3 until 3 months later when they came out with that infamous patch that literally gave you a slim chance of getting these new weapons. So they kept announcing. Remember, it was like weapons kept getting announced every month, like from wrenches, from swords.
And those weapons were good. Like those weapons, they were like OP.
They were cool looking. Everybody was like, "Yo, that's dope." From swords, from wrenches, from iconic guns like what was that gun? What's that gun called from Black Ops 1? It was the FAMAS or whatever. The FAMAS.
Yeah.
Guns like that was added to the Galil from Black Ops 1 was added in the game. I was like, yo, this is dope. They're adding some crazy guns. And as soon as you notice, or as soon as you catch on to how shady they were when it came to the point system and how shady they were when it came to the system. Remember how they told you before the game came out that you were not going to get duplicates?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many duplicates do you get now in Call of Duty Black Ops 3?
All the time, of course.
We don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to talk about that.
It's sickening. Yeah.
It's absolutely worth. You get more duplicates than it's worth. At least with Advanced Warfare? That was the one with the exoskeleton, right? At least with Advanced Warfare, you had different classes and quality versions of the guns. But again, even that, it's like that confuses the player a little too much. You don't want that, but they will always find ways. Again, it's hard to take what they say to serious. This is why I said earlier when you said NW3. This is what I was about to say with NW3. Yeah, I remember NW3 when they said, "Oh, Last Stand is not going to be in Call of Duty in this one." What happened? NW3 comes out. Final Stand is in Call of Duty. It's a death streak. And remember how broken it was? If you go down, you can kill somebody and then get back up and then get back out there and still have your kill streaks.
Yeah, again, you hate to see that. And again, I'm going to hope for the best. My glass is usually half full in life, so I'm going to take a chance here and give them credit, because there are a lot of other games out there that are taking people's attentions and money. And if they piss the fan base off right out of the gate, they may not recover. Even the game looks good, but we'll see. And Crispy Bomb, I want to get your final opinion before I get everybody out of here, because we are at the 2:03 mark when it comes to the show's length, and I want to do proper outros for everyone. Crispy, in your opinion, do you trust Activision to, quote-unquote, do the right thing, or are they just going to wreak their ugly head once again?
I don't trust them as far as I could throw them. I mean, they're just, they're synonymous. They killed Call of Duty for me years ago. I mean, and I might get back into this one because it's kind of a nostalgia thing. And I like the campaign of some of the Call of Duties. But the multiplayer, I mean, I've seen people playing the beta, whatever you want to call it, and it's the same campy, it doesn't appeal to me, like, and me as a Gears player, and to not have dedicated servers. Are you kidding me? I didn't even know that, and that's absolutely absurd. And this is where we get down to. This is why Game Pass is possible. These big developers are doubling down on these microtransactions, and they can go and reinvigorate their fan base by throwing it in Game Pass for a couple months or as long as they want to, and then bring back those microtransactions back into the fold. And this is going to be a constant motto. I remember when I sat there and had my flip phone, and these first few mobile games started coming out, and I'm like, oh god, this is going to be in gaming eventually. And sure enough, I was right. And it's something that is kind of sickening. I'm gonna be honest, like, everybody hated the Gears 4 loot boxes. I didn't hate them so much. They gave you a plethora of credits and everything, and I feel it's going to be a lot grindier trying to get this stuff single-handedly in Gears 5. So it's a catch-22 with these loot boxes, but they also control how much, you get out of them. So, I mean, in the end, we just have to learn to deal with it. Hopefully it doesn't become a pay-to-win motto with better guns and such things. And, hopefully they keep it cosmetic. But, I mean, we're probably going down that road, which is just crazy.
It's sad Warframe offers you so much more content, and that's a free game in general. That's sad.
We're at that point.
Yeah, well, it's again, folks, we don't know. We're not going to know. All I could say is that most people you speak to that have been gaming for a while know who Activision, that old Dennis Green, they were who we thought they were, is probably going to be something that people are going to be talking about on Twitter with Activision. I honestly hope not, because I'm really, really excited for the game, for the single player, because, man, it does look unbelievable, and it is a new engine for the first time in the series as a whole since Modern Warfare, the original one, I'm super stoked. But listen, folks, I gotta say, this has been an amazing 2 hours. The panel, of course, is just packed with unbelievable amounts of talent. Everyone on here is a big time streamer, content creator, or community member that has a big voice, and I appreciate you guys taking over 2 hours of your day to come hang out with us in this amazing community. And of course, that's what I want to go to next. The chat, once again, we had 120 something people watching, which was a big deal, and I really appreciate everyone coming out each and every week to listen to the show. I say this all the time. I'm very humbled by that, because when I decided to do this channel, I actually was going to be happy if I had 2 people watching, one of which is probably going to be my brother. So I didn't know where it was going to go, and the channel support has been ridiculous. So before we get into outros, I have to talk, and when I say channel support, I did the channel membership late, I think it was early this month I started it, and my goodness, the the response has been unbelievable. There's a total of 15 channel members. I want to thank everybody individually. Thanos, who just became a channel member today, Gamer by Choice, Tempest Sun, Matt Burns, Philly Eagle, Lethal Papa, Masshole 1977, Aiden Williams, Jay Zayas, JD Gamer, Infinite AA, Scrub Nurse, Moonwalker 925, Josette Rivera, which of course is my wife, and J Force Games. I want to thank all of you for the outstanding and ridiculous support. It's been really fun to bring this content, and like I said, I'm gonna start with the different things I'm doing to have some monies coming in. I'm gonna be able to do more giveaways. I have something coming up at the end of the month. I'm gonna be talking about in the next week or so. I do want to make one other announcement before we get out of here, and I do outros. Monday evening is going to be the launch of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends. It's going to be a show that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Primetime simply because that is primetime hour, at least here in the States. The actual show is going to have a regular cast of community members, one of which, of course, is So Shady, who has joined the panel. The first guest to kick off the show is Dealer from Dealer Gaming is going to be our first guest, and we're going to be talking about gears and a whole bunch of other great things. And it's a show that's going to be really based around the community. If you're following me for a while, I used to do something called Community Spotlights, and it was something that I built this channel on, is putting community first and raising up others who don't have shows. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be putting out a tweet later on this afternoon asking for what's going to be called the Community Question of the Week. And if you are picked, I will reach out to you privately. I will get some information about you. So while we're doing the show, I can push your YouTube channel, your Twitter account, and of course you as a community member if you're picked. And what's great about it is that the community question of the week is going to be how we're going to start each and every show, putting that community member to the forefront so others could learn about them. It's something that I really built this show based upon. And of course, it's going to be what you expect from Mr. Boomstick and Double Barrel Gaming. Non-toxic, very positive, lots of laughs, big time fun, and of course, well-researched and written material for each and every Monday night to round out that really unbelievable week of content that we have. I have my show on Monday, you have RDX on Tuesday, you have on Wednesday the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, of course on Thursday you have Salty Show, and on Friday you have Crossfire with my very good friend The Mooch. And if you're into the circle that we run in, you're gonna have a 5-day week spread of great gaming. Of course, I want to get to the outros. I've been talking long enough. And Zemi Games, I want to go to you first, dude. Listen, man, I love having you on the panel. I love calling you brother. You've become a very good friend. Having you on the show each and every week is really enjoyable because you are really funny. And you're very honest about the games that you play and the fact that you will put someone through a door first before you go. I always find that hilarious. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, because my God, folks, follow Zemi on Twitter already and check out your content.
Thank you so much, Boom. Fantastic show as always. Really enjoyed the Gears of War college talk. I really, really enjoy those topics. But yeah, if you guys want to, you can follow me on YouTube just by searching the name Zemi Games. You can also follow my second YouTube channel called The Strange if you would like. And you guys can also follow me on Twitter at Zemi Games. So thank you so much, Boom.
Well, listen, again, great to have you here, dude, and it's always a pleasure. So Shady, I want to get you out of here as well. Listen, you are a very active community member. You do speak your mind, and I do appreciate that about you. And I think a lot of people appreciate that about you. And of course, you are on several shows, two of which that we work together on a weekly basis. And I'm glad to have you. Tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter and where they can listen to you on YouTube.
No problem, Boom. Once again, thanks for having me on this show, which is one of the weekly shows you will find me on each week. Friday, Breakfast with a Boom. And then, as you said, Monday, your brand new show starting this next week coming up. I am a panel member on that as well. I look forward to it. We have an awesome panel. We're going to have some great topics. Like you said, our first guest will be Dealer Gaming. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't done a show with the man since I left RDX almost 7-8 months ago. We've been talking back and forth for the last couple of weeks. It's getting, good time. So I look forward to chatting games with them again. I hope you can all come out Monday and show your support for the new show. Hope it, it drives with you as well. I don't see why it wouldn't. We're going to be sitting around talking some games. We're a bunch of positive guys that have no problem, talking about the bad, but don't let the bad ruin the good of video gaming at the end of the day. I am so shady. I run the Sesh Empire on Twitter at the Sesh Empire. That's one word. Stand up, hit the follow button, become an agent. Don't just mill around as a peasant of the empire. Get recognized. You know what I'm saying? I like to interact. Interact with me. I'll follow you back after that happens. Otherwise, I got to be honest, it's hard for me to follow people who I don't know or know why they're following me. Introduce yourselves. Interact with me. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Just be somewhat polite about it. We don't want out here to troll one another. I'm down for a jab or two. I'm down for a joke or two. I'm a joke maker at the end of the day. I like to laugh. But let's try and keep it friendly. If you are telling a joke, smiley, or just say you're joking, because there's no context on Twitter, and a lot of people take things wrong, and it ends up turning into an 8-hour bitch fest back and forth because someone just took it out of context or whatnot. Like, let's all be polite, man. But at the end of the day, happy gaming, everybody. Gears 5 obviously has dropped. We got to get back to that. It is my mother's birthday today, so I'm going to have to spend some quality time with my mama. Yeah, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here to enjoy these damn games. So I'm going to have to be bouncing my time between the two, but we've got stuff planned for later on. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I'll see you all again soon. Happy gaming.
Yes, great. And Crispy Bomb, it's your first show, and you knocked it out of the park. I want, again, it was great to work with you. You, of course, like we talked privately, will be coming back at a later date to reprise your panel role. Please tell everyone where they can follow you. But more importantly, listen to other shows that you're on that you talk about video games.
Thanks, Boom. I really appreciate it. It's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter. I'm going to call that BS out. That's how I roll.
Yep.
Okay. I don't mess around. I will go back on what you said. I just if you want some entertainment value with some of these toxic people, just follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 followers. I'm also a panel member on Retro Renegades. That's Tuesday nights. I'm also on Next Podcast now on Saturday nights.
Nice, dude. What? I did not even know that, dude. Otherwise, I would have put that into the show notes. That's good to know.
Coffee CCC is coming back Sunday 7:30. I'm hoping we're talking about it, so hopefully this Sunday we'll be back on CCC, and it's just been awesome being here talking games. We don't need to be negative. Let's enjoy the games.
Well, at the end of the day, I always thought I was always under the impression that games were supposed to be #fun, but some people don't understand it that way. But it was great to work with you, dude. Good luck on CCC coming back, and of course, I'm sure you're going to kill it as a regular panel member on the next podcast. And last, and in no way least, my very good friend that I've worked with numerous times, BitCloud Gaming. Dude, let me tell you something. You are an asset to this community. You're an asset to the content creation community, and I love what you do. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, sub your YouTube channel.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Boom. It's always a pleasure to be here, talk game with all of you. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Happy birthday to Mr. Shady's mom here, and of course to David?
Wife, King David's wife. So they have to share a birthday. I didn't even realize that. Happy birthday awesome. To all.
So happy birthday to both of them. To everybody in the chat, shout out to you guys. I did jump in a little late, but it's all right.
That's my fault, dude. That's completely on me. Don't even sweat it.
That's our show. But it was a good show. I enjoyed myself. Definitely go play Gears 5. Great game. Enjoy yourselves. Definitely one of the better games that's dropped. So definitely go play that. But I'm Big Cloud Gaming. You guys can find me on Twitter at Big Cloud Gaming, and you can also find me on YouTube at the same name. And yeah, I go play some games, man. You can also check us out on Sunday for the RGT podcast and Gamer Couch podcast Super Show. We do that at 5 p.m. Eastern time for all you guys. Non-stop gaming, unbiased, just fun. So we'll definitely see you guys there on Sunday. Yeah,
well, it's again great to have you on, dude. Great to have everybody on, and I want to wish everybody a really enjoyable weekend. You know what? Gears is out. Even if you are a PlayStation guy or gal, you have to play the game. And I'm not saying I'm saying you have to play. If you're a gamer, you owe it to yourself to push aside the console war shenanigans and play a game that is going to be in the running for Game of the Year 2019. The game, don't listen to meta, don't listen to people giving it 6s and 7s. People that give Gears 5 a 6 or a 7 have no business reviewing games. You have to review a game for its quality, for its graphics, for its sound, for its storytelling, for its modes, for its length of play, for its replayability, and everything I just said, Gears 5 has in spades. I am going to be doing an official review on my channel. It's probably going to be about 10 or 11 minutes in length. I'm halfway done writing my review, but I'm only halfway done playing through it. I'm almost at the end of Act 2. There are 4 acts, and I want to make sure that I play through the game and then get in some multiplayer before I give it an official review. But look forward to that. Once again, everyone, be safe. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. And treat others how you want to be treated. And I guarantee you, you're going to have a good day. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks again for listening.